Raw consciousness does not require a savior, but rather, raw consciousness requires only knowledge of oneself and the power to access it. Remember this, as we unlock an even greater gnosis from beyond the veil.
From the Pacific Northwest, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. I'm Chris Gio. I will be taking you beyond the veil this evening. I'm joined, of course, by my lovely wife, Mrs. Gio.
Good evening, everyone.
It has been a little while. I've been busy working on a couple of projects that I'm hoping to release here in the near future, music projects and some other stuff like that. And, of course, we've got the film that we need to start working on and get out to you. It has been the 1-year anniversary of our mission to Egypt and the completion of the Raw mission. If you guys and gals aren't familiar, you can go to resettingthematrix.com and check that out. And I can't believe that it's already been a year.
I know.
So we need to really get it together when it comes to the film and get it out to people because we have a ton of footage that we want to share with people. How's Mrs. Gio doing today?
I'm good. It's hard to believe that a year ago from today, we were in Saqqara and walking around in that 110 degree weather.
Today was the day. We were in Saqqara. We were smoking hashish at the Bent Pyramid. We have
that was awesome.
Video of that on my Facebook, facebook.com/Chris Gio Show if you want to check that out.
Yeah. And I'm doing good. Doing really good.
Right.
Recovering still from surgeries and stuff like that. But other than that, we're waiting to hear back on something else related to my knee, actually. So wish me luck on that. Hopefully I don't have to have another surgery coming up pretty soon, but I guess we'll find out.
Yes, definitely. Now, we may take some calls a little bit later in the broadcast, but in the first hour, what I wanted to do is talk about lucid dreaming. Now, I have been busting my head open trying to figure out how do I help people out there that are a bit apprehensive about psychedelics, for some reason don't want to do them for one reason or another. Maybe it's a medical thing and they can't do it. And I was thinking to myself, lucid dreaming might be a way. We did a show with David J. Brown several years ago about lucid dreaming, and we have David J. Brown back on. He is, I would say, the highest authority when it comes to lucid dreaming. His book, Dreaming Wide Awake, has actually been phenomenal. And this is a guy that has experience in both psychedelics and lucid dreaming. And I take these people much more seriously. I was replying to somebody on Facebook and they were talking about doing this kind of breathing kind of technique where you release DMT supposedly that the body makes. I don't understand how the body makes that much DMT. I mean, it makes a little bit to provoke dream states and things like that, but I just don't understand how it makes as much to provoke a DMT type experience. But one of the things that I asked the teacher who was teaching these things is, do you have experience in psychedelics? And she did not answer the question. So I can't really take that very seriously because it's like you don't know where you're going. You don't know where your target is. For example, I started this whole workout kick a while back. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do my first Spartan run late October, probably in Dallas. So I want to invite people to meet up with us when we go out there. My trainer told me today, she's like, look, you are just flying through this. And I think I can get you ready for a Spartan run in October. And if you don't know what the Spartan race is, ladies and gentlemen, it is a hardcore 8-mile freaking obstacle course that's just like horrendous. Like just completing it is a feat in and of itself. My trainer, she comes in first, second, third, or fourth place every single time. And when she comes in second, third, or fourth, she's pissed off. Like I can tell from her pictures, you can see the difference in expressions between when she has the first place trophy and the fake smile, which is the second, third, and fourth place. But let me just say this. She's a freaking badass. Okay. Because to come in first, and I think like 5,000 people compete.
Right.
I don't plan on placing anywhere. My goal is to just finish it. That's it, because it's so
it's
hardcore.
That hardcore.
Just finishing it is a feat in and of itself.
It's kind of like the Olympics. Just getting to the place where you can participate in it is a feat in and of itself. So
yes. So she was asking me. She's like, "How are you going so hard? I don't understand." And I said, "Look, we live in a digital simulation. Okay, this body is not real, and I know this body's not real. My heart works at 110% capacity. They have a heart meter on me every time we're doing this. People in the gym are coming up to me going, dude, you are freaking killing it. How is this happening? They're like, who's this fat guy over here and why is he moving so fast? And I'm serious. They're like, why is he moving so fast? Why is he so strong? Why is he able to do all this stuff? Because it's all in the mind. It's an illusion. Okay. So I understand that by that illusion that I can do certain things with my body, even though my body doesn't look it, I can still make my body do certain things. So what I was thinking about in the psychedelic realm, how can we make the body at the same time understand, well, first of all, by understanding that we are in a simulation, how can we provoke the body to create different types of states and whatnot? And I would say that that state is lucid dreaming. That's one thing that I think I can stand behind and say, hey, this is a good experience. The only problem I have with lucid dreaming and any kind of dreams is that dreams are either A, symbolic and very metaphoric. So when you're dealing with something in the dream realm, you have to look at it from a point of symbolism. It could be premonition and of something to come. And it could also be just a bunch of mishmash stuff in your consciousness. You know what? Now that I think about it, though, it's exactly like the ayahuasca DMT psychedelic realm. I mean, you can get all those different types of experiences, mishmashes of your consciousness, or premonitions or symbolism. I mean, I guess it's very similar. So maybe lucid dreaming is something that we can offer people who are a little apprehensive of psychedelics. And so David J. Brown knows both. And that's why I'm really excited about having him on.
Yeah, same here. You know, it's interesting. Last time we had him on, I think I had said something about never really having a lucid dreaming experience. And I can't say that now because just a few nights ago, I had a very intense dream. And I just now realized, while you were speaking just now, that I actually did lucid dream because in the dream, it was something happened that I consciously made the decision to not allow it to progress to the point where it always progresses. You know, it's like a recurring dream, except I had control over it and I made the conscious decision to not have it progress to the same point it was before. You know, it's always the same. It's always, I'm at a high place and I fall and I hit the ground. And as soon as I hit the ground, I wake up. This time I made the conscious decision to not fall. And I didn't fall. And I came all the way back down to the ground and totally safely. And then I woke up. And I think that would classify as a lucid dream, wouldn't it?
I think so. If you had control of it. Now, I know what David's going to say. The first thing you need to do is start asking yourself every hour, if you can, am I dreaming?
Right.
Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? And then that's going to bring you into the habit of asking yourself that, not only in this realm, but in the dream realm as well. And then in the dream realm, when you can come to that realization, hey, I'm dreaming, then you can take control of the dream and then go inwards and look for that inner gnosis.
Definitely.
So, I'm really excited about having David on and about the journey and path. And we have a couple of special guests that we're going to bring out a little bit later in the broadcast as well. After David. So we have some new additions to the Geo clan over here.
The Geo fam.
Yeah. That Cherie wants to show everybody.
Yeah.
So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. I'm going to run a quick break because I don't know how long it's going to take to get David on the phone. Should be pretty quick though.
Excellent.
And I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too. This is going to be great.
We'll be right back.
If you have a golf ball sized consciousness, when you read a book, you'll have a golf ball size understanding. When you look out, a golf ball size awareness. And when you wake up in the morning, a golf ball size wakefulness. But if you could expand that consciousness, then you read the book, more understanding. You look out, more awareness. And when you wake up, more wakefulness. It's consciousness. And There's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. Each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter. All matter, all matter, all matter. This pure consciousness is called by modern physics the unified field.
My dear traveler, the purpose of raw consciousness is never to destroy. It is always to create. Build bridges. Create happiness. And bring forth new life. We must live in the hope that mankind will draw together. And that we better understand each other. The more that we awaken, the easier this will become. Now rise. Follow your conductors. And fear no danger. As you step beyond the veil.
All right, I had a point to bringing up the whole personal trainer experience and the Spartan run and all of this, and I totally went off point, as I always do. But my point was that I was talking to her, and she trains hardcore. I mean, she's like hardcore. And she said, look, if I don't know the absolute depths of this adventure, how am I going to be a personal trainer and try to teach other people? And I said, you know what? That's exactly the way I feel about ayahuasca. Mm-hmm. That's why I've gone 400 grams of Mimosa hostilis in the sarcophagus of the Great Pyramid. Freaking hardcore. There's nowhere else to go after that. After that, it's like, you know, the only place after that is death.
The moon.
That's it.
Doing ayahuasca on the moon. You know?
David J. Brown has been to similar realms. And David J. Brown also knows about lucid dreaming. So he has a marker. He has something to shoot for. And what's awesome about being able to train with this person that I'm training with, and I'm actually helping her out too in her training. I mean, obviously I'm not helping to train her, but I've been training with her in the sense that I'm watching what she's doing. I'm there to tell her, hey, you can do this, you know, to bring that same motivation that she brings to me. And I'm able to see now, okay, this is what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for this. This is my goal and beyond. So like, I'll give you an example, like deadlifting, right? She's teaching me how to deadlift. And she didn't want me to lift any real weight because first my form needed to be good. Otherwise I would hurt my back. So she's been telling me, hey, you know, she's been training me slowly. But, you know, the one thing she didn't do is tell me this is what you're supposed to be able to do. I'm supposed to be able to, with my weight, I'm supposed to be able to deadlift about 350 to 400 pounds. And I've been deadlifting like 50 to 80 just so she can get my form right. But I didn't know this. I had to look it up. I didn't have, okay, this is what I'm shooting for. This is my target here. But being able to watch her, now I'm like, okay, I understand my target here. David J. Brown understands the target. David J. Brown understands where we go in this consciousness realm and where we can go with other methods besides psychedelics. So this is one person that I can say, okay, this guy is an expert, not only in psychedelics, but in alternative methods as well, which is what I want to bring to the audience. I've been busting my head open, trying to figure out what can we offer people. Lucid dreaming is it, I think. Maybe David has some other ideas as well. So take us away, Mrs. Gio.
Definitely. David J. Brown holds a master's degree in psychobiology from New York University, a former neuroscience researcher at the University of Southern California. He has written for Wired, Discover, and Scientific American, and his news stories have appeared on the Huffington Post and CBS News. A frequent guest editor of the MAPS Bulletin, he is the author of several books, including Mavericks of the Mind, Dreaming Wide Awake, and Conversations on the Edge of the Apocalypse. He lives in Ben Lomond, California, which is, you know, somewhere where we would eventually like to move as well. So welcome to the show, David.
Well, let me say this first. David has done a ton of books.
He's done, huge amount of books.
Dreaming Wide Awake is one of his previous books. He's got new projects, so I want to get into some of the new projects as well.
Yeah.
But what I really want to do is focus on the lucid dreaming. David, how are you doing, sir?
We're great. Thank you so much for having us on. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Awesome.
Pleasure to have you.
Oh, Molly
is with us
too.
as
Yes.
well.
I'm here. Don't forget about me now.
Awesome.
Never.
Molly is a hardcore psychonaut goddess from another dimension. I think that's the best way that I can describe
I'm still trying
Molly.
to figure it out.
An incredible artist as well.
Yes.
Incredible artwork.
I just was born into this very crazy, chaotic world, and I'm still trying to figure out why I keep coming back here. They keep sending me back here.
That reminds me of a line from Natural Born Killers. They asked, when did you first start thinking about killing? And he said, when at birth, when I was thrown into this godforsaken pit of hell.
Aww.
We are on a mission here. Some are nefarious, some are not. Anyways,
you're a trip and a half.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Well, I'm so glad to hear from you both, because it's been such a long time, and I'm glad about the reconnection. And so, yeah, this is great. Thank you for having David on and thinking about him and the two of us, because you know that you and Cherie are twin flamen, and David and I have the same kind of thing going on. So it's really cool to really connect with truly, other twin flames out in the world, because we are very rare, It's very, very rare.
That is very true. So, but one thing about twin flames is we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world was turning.
Well, yeah. but
that sounds like a Billy Joel.
I think she's a little too young for that one.
She is. I'm showing my age now.
Ring of Fire. Are you talking about the Ring of Fire song? Or that went way over my head, right?
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
Ring of Fire, down. Yeah, I get you.
He actually stole that song. I found out he stole that song from some folk singers. And Johnny Cash has stolen a bunch of songs. Michael Jackson stole Thriller. Did you know about this? Yes, that's a ripoff.
Don't get me on here singing "Oh My There."
Oh. Anyways, I know we're limited for time, so I want to get to the meat and potatoes of everything. Yes, but we got to do this again when we have more time, for sure. Let's talk about your recent work, since we have both of you on. The name of the book eludes me. Women of
Visionary Art.
Women of Visionary Art.
Yes.
Take us away on that, please. David or Molly, whoever wants to take it.
We made a baby, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's just, have you seen it? You got your copy, right?
It's a collection of interviews that Molly and I did with 18 extraordinary women visionary artists, Martina Hoffman, Allison Gray. Help me out. Who are some of the others?
Okay, so we have Allison Gray, the real OGs of the house.
Jessica Pearlstein.
Amanda Sage, Martina Hoffman, Burgundy, Emily Kell, let's see,
Josephine Wall. Anyway, we have pretty much the forefront of women visionary artists in the world, and we did 18 really in-depth interviews asking them about their mystical experiences, their dreams, their psychedelic experiences, and how these came together to inspire their artwork. The book also is a showcase of their work. It's in full color, and there's beautiful illustrations on almost every page, photographs of their work and photographs of them live painting, and it makes a beautiful coffee table book. It's just an extraordinary book, and it's especially wonderful to look at when you're in an altered state of consciousness.
I have looked at it during an altered state of consciousness. I have, actually.
Can I ask your experience with that?
I'm sorry?
Do we have time? Can I ask your experience with that? Do we have a little bit of time just to go really briefly into what your experience was looking through?
Honestly, I was actually pretty stunned by the amount of synchronicity of the things that I had seen in previous experiences coinciding with what I was actually seeing in the book. And I had never seen the book before. And it was amazing how it was so right along the same lines of everything I had been intuiting, everything I had been told telepathically during these experiences by the beings. The only thing that was missing from them is the fact that I whenever I see these beings, they're as real as I'm standing in front of somebody. I mean, they're that real. Whereas it's a little bit more mystical. It's a little bit more artistically generated, and a lot more colorful than what I actually see in my experiences usually. But it was really.
But there's still a relation.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody, I believe, has their own unique twist to these experiences, though they are so similar in so many ways. But so thank you for sharing that with me. I just wanted to get your ideas around that. But I know that there were other questions and things that David and Chris wanted to get into. So
yes, definitely.
The feminine is rising for sure, and we need to do a show on that. As a matter of fact, I think it would be great if you and Cherie just did the show just yourselves at some point. I can just run the board and do stuff like that. But yeah, we need to get the feminine aspect here for sure. Yeah. But I do want to direct it over to David here for just a moment, because David, your work, Dreaming Wide Awake, I would say is probably the best book out there when it comes to lucid dreaming. I have still yet to be able to master this technique, though, and I don't know if the problem is that I smoke a joint before I go to bed or something like that, and if this all clouds the experience. So I guess first and foremost, sleep aids, cannabis, things like that. How does that cloud the experience? Does that cloud your ability?
Well, people who smoke cannabis regularly every day report that they have far less dream recall in general than people who abstain. And someone who smokes cannabis every single day and then stops, one of the first things they report about their dream life is that it suddenly explodes. They're just suddenly dreaming all night long, and they can't even hardly, recount all the dreams that that they're experiencing. So some people think that what marijuana is doing is actually suppressing dreams. People experience less time spent in REM sleep, which is the active phase of dreaming. But and they make it sound like it's this unhealthy thing. But people who smoke cannabis are basically pretty psychologically healthy, and people who are deprived of REM sleep are not. They've done some studies where they've actually woken people up every time they go into REM. So they're only allowed to go through the other phases of sleep, but they eliminate REM. And they had to stop the studies after a few days because people just became too agitated and just weren't able to function properly, couldn't concentrate. So REM sleep is definitely important. So the fact that people who use cannabis regularly spend less time in REM sleep, they spend more time in deeply restorative sleep. So sleep is actually usually more restful for people who use cannabis regularly. And one could argue, and this is Terence McKenna's idea, that the reason that people who use cannabis regularly report dreaming less is because dreaming serves, at least this is one theory as to what dreaming does, serves the function of moving information from our subconscious or unconscious minds into our conscious minds. And maybe that's what we're doing when we have insights or revelations, the classic, forehead slapping insights that you get with cannabis. Maybe, the same type of method of, bringing information out of the unconscious and into the conscious mind, so you don't have as great of a need for it when you dream. Some people use cannabis, though, to help them lucid dream. Everybody's different. People told me stories about, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, taking just one hit of pot, going back to sleep, and having lucid dreams. And I personally used cannabis quite extensively, for much of my life, and have had, hundreds, if not thousands, of lucid dreams while under the influence. So it's certainly possible. But if you've been smoking cannabis regularly and you really want to try to focus on your dream life, I highly suggest taking a fast or a break from it for a couple of weeks, and you'd be surprised at how much your dream life will become more active.
Well, and also,
but, if you want.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say also, I think that there are substances that actually do help with dreaming. There's magnesium, 5-HTP, things like that people are mentioning in the chat that I know of that help with dreaming, as well as something like valerian. And then if you want to go to more of the pharmaceuticals, the term morphine was actually named after the god of dreams, Morpheus, because opium does cause dreaming. I
have a whole chapter in my book where I explore all the different nutritional supplements and herbs and drugs, pharmaceutical drugs and psychedelic drugs that have all been reported to increase either to enhance dream recall or to increase the probability of having a lucid dream. Mm-hmm. Some of the ones that were the most popular were galantamine, which is a cognitive enhancer that's available on Amazon. They've even done scientific studies, Stephen LaBerge did, to show that if you do galantamine before going to sleep, it increases the probability of lucid dreaming significantly. I personally had great success with an herb called velvet bean, which is a herb that's used in Ayurvedic medicine and increases L-DOPA. L-DOPA is a precursor to dopamine, so your dopamine levels are higher when you're sleeping. I've had many lucid dreams with that combination. There's herbs that help with just enhancing dreaming, not necessarily lucid. Kalia zakatiki and sea lion capensis, otherwise known as the Mexican dream herb and the African dream herb, can greatly enhance dreaming and change the quality. So there's a number of different things that can be used. I really outline these in the book. But, in terms of I should probably mention just a few techniques that are, don't involve the use of any herbs or anything that can help people to start lucid dreaming right away. Probably really the best technique, the thing that's helped me to lucid dream better than anything else, is to get into the habit of regularly asking myself the question, am I dreaming right now? Get into this habit of asking yourself, maybe once an hour, set your alarm clock, am I dreaming right now? And when you ask yourself that question, you have to not flippantly answer and say, oh, of course I'm not dreaming, because you want to get into the habit of testing your reality, because waking reality and dream reality don't respond the same way to some very simple tests. For example, if you take a book and look at the cover of the book and try to read the words on it, memorize what they say, look away and look back, in a dream, the words will almost always change. And in waking reality, they stay constant. If you try to breathe through your nostrils when you pinch your nostril, try to breathe through your nose. In waking reality, you won't be able to do it, but you'll have no problem in a lucid dream. If you get into the habit of asking yourself, am I dreaming right now, and taking these reality tests, doing it regularly, you'll find that it carries over into the dream, and you'll find yourself doing this in the dream, and you're going to be tremendously surprised one of these days to take the test and realize that you're in a dream while it's happening. I don't think we actually spoke about what a lucid dream is. I should probably mention a lucid dream is when you become aware and awake in a dream while it's actually happening, so that you can ignore the social and biological consequences that we have to deal with in the waking world, and you can create your own laws of physics, and you can indulge in fantasy fulfillment that's beyond belief, and there's a therapeutic potential with it, and skill learning, and creativity enhancement, and even ultimately spiritual evolution, as it's been used in Tibetan Buddhism for many years. But I just wanted to just mention two more techniques that you can utilize besides the herbs, is to set your alarm clock for around 3 hours before you normally wake up, and get up and read a little bit, move around the house, go to the bathroom, do something to kind of get your mind kind of actively engaged. I'm sorry?
Go on a little bit. Working up a little bit.
Yeah, you want to you want to get your mind kind of actively engaged and woken up a little bit, so that when you go back to sleep, your mind's still partially active, and there's about a 50% greater chance of having a lucid dream when you do that. If when you go to sleep you repeat the phrase, the next time I'm dreaming, I'd like to remember to recognize that I'm dreaming. The next time that I'm dreaming, I'd like to remember to recognize that I'm dreaming. You repeat that as you're going to sleep. If you start combining these techniques, get into the habit of reality testing, Start keeping a dream journal, writing down your dreams, write everything down that you remember the moment that you wake up. Start setting your alarm clock, 3 hours before you get up. Practice, a mnemonic exercise, repeating them next time I'm dreaming. Maybe try some of these herbs like velvet bean and different things. If you try mixing and matching all these techniques, I almost absolutely guarantee that you will have a lucid dream sometime in the next 2 weeks.
Wow. So, David, let me ask you this. When it comes to lucid dreaming, how would you relate this to some of the revelations, self-gnosis, self-realization that you get with psychedelics? Because one of the problems that we run into is that a lot of people, or not a lot of people, some people, they're either apprehensive of psychedelics for one reason or another, or they have a medical condition and they're unable to take those, or, it's just they're later in life and it's just like something that's not for them. And I want to give them that same ability to be able to unlock this inner gnosis from themselves. So considering the fact that you've done both and that you fully understand both realms, how do these two realms compare?
Well, that was really the subject of my whole book, Dreaming Wide Awake. I couldn't believe that nobody had written about the connection between psychedelic experiences and lucid dreaming, because it seemed so obvious to me. I had my first lucid dream experience a couple of days after doing LSD as a teenager when I was 16, and I discovered a couple of years after that when you do a psychedelic in a dream, in other words, a dream psychedelic, if you smoke DMT or do LSD in the dream, you will have a psychedelic experience in the dream without actually doing a drug. It goes to show you that the drug isn't actually necessary. It's the belief that you've taken it or some other way of triggering it. But I wrote Stanley Krippner when I was doing my book, asking him what are some of the similarities that you see between psychedelics and lucid dreaming, and he goes, I haven't really thought about it. I don't really think there were too many. And I was like, wow, okay, I've really got a book here because I can't believe nobody's explored this. And I started looking into things like synesthesia and, the kinds of insights and revelations it's used. They can both be used for healing. People use lucid dreaming as a way to heal injuries, to heal trauma. I think that the way that, first of all, being in a lucid dream is very similar to being in a psychedelic in the sense that what you believe influences what you perceive. Very, very quickly, colors are usually brighter. The world around you seems very sensually enhanced. But the reason why it can be utilized like a psychedelic is because you can learn to dialogue with the lucid dream or with the dreaming mind itself. In other words, like you can with ayahuasca, ayahuasca, there's a voice, grandmother ayahuasca, or some kind of spirit that people often report that helps to guide them and that they can dialogue with and ask questions to. You can do the same thing in a lucid dream. Robert Wagner taught me that one of the most interesting things to do in a lucid dream is to ignore the characters around you, no matter how interesting they are, to not engage in the environment around you, no matter how compelling it is, but to just ignore everything around you and raise your head to the sky and look up to the sky and talk to the dream itself. Just ask the dream questions, and you will be surprised. The dream itself will answer you. Sometimes in English it responds right away. Sometimes it responds by changing the scene and putting you in a whole other dream scene that will respond to your question. Sometimes it doesn't respond in that dream. Sometimes it responds a couple of dreams later. But every single time I've ever done this, it's always responded. So the ayahuasca voice and the dreaming mind that you can speak to are this mysterious entity, either some higher part of ourselves or some aspect of the divine, or pick your favorite theory as to what it is. But whatever it is, it knows more about us than we know ourselves. And it's happy to dialogue with you and happy to talk to you. And it's completely legal. You don't have to worry about getting arrested or going to jail for talking to your dreaming mind.
That is true. That's a concern of some people. You know what I found, though, David, is that when you vibrate at this higher frequency, it's almost as if the state, for lack of a better term, just can't interact with you. I've been pulled over about 4 times in the last 4 years, and each time it's almost like a Jedi mind trick. The cop walks up to me, takes a look at me, and says, "I'm sorry to bother you, sir," and walks away. And I'm like, yeah, that's higher consciousness right there, out of my sphere. Not saying that this will happen every single time, but I find that interesting. People are talking in the chat room about CBD oil, and we have a CBD oil. If I can divert the topic here for just a moment, because it is coming up in the chat. It's called Life, and with Life, what we've done is we've taken the CBD oil and infused it with the ayahuasca vine itself. People are reporting that it's clearing them up and it's provoking dreams. Would you say, in your opinion, David? Oh, go ahead.
I've never heard of this before, mixing CBD oil with ayahuasca. I mean, ayahuasca itself promotes lucid dreaming. It's very common for people to have a lucid dream a day or two after having an ayahuasca experience. I'm not sure what the CBD oil does. I use CBD oil myself every night before I go to sleep, and it helps me to sleep, especially when I mix it with cannabis. But I'm not familiar with that. I'd love to hear more about it.
It's a product that we developed ourselves. I got the recipe from an ayahuasca experience. We take the bee cappy, infuse it with the CBD. There's a special process that we do. And you can get that at ayalife.com. That's ayalife.com. People have been reporting the most phenomenal things. I mean, just somebody in the chat room just said earlier, I just finished my first bottle of Life. Amazing results. I've lost weight, et cetera, et cetera. We had a comment the other day, and I'll go through a couple of the comments we get. But the person wrote on Facebook. Everybody's been like writing all over Facebook about their experiences. His grandmother, 85 years old, is dying of, I don't know what. He didn't say anything specific, and she was getting dementia. She wasn't talking, and she was in tremendous pain. She couldn't even eat food. They gave her the Life, and it's not curing her from what's going on, but it took her out of pain. She's been talking all night long. She's still winding down in life, but it's given her the ability to be able to communicate during her final days, which is something that didn't happen before. It's the balance between the two. So it's the synergy, in my opinion, between the Aya vine and the CBD that has just been phenomenal. So it's incredible because people are saying that they're dreaming more and more and more. And I'm wondering if maybe it's like you said, the ayahuasca vine itself. And it's basically like a microdose of the ayahuasca that also goes in hand with the CBD oil. So whatever CBD oil you're using, let us send you a couple of bottles of this Life, because I mean, the reports that we're getting is that it's like nothing that people have used ever before. It just like blows everything out of the water when it comes to that.
It's a step above regular CBD oil.
Yeah. It sounds really amazing. You know, down in the Amazon, part of the shamanic tradition, when you're training to become a shaman, you do bee cappy with a number of different plants at the time, and that's how you learn to understand the spirit of that particular plant, according to this idea. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? That they do?
I am. Yes. I mean, you know, even bee cappy with, say, mushrooms, for example, that acts as an MAOI, then allows the mushrooms to act even better. Syrian root. Some people take Syrian root before mushrooms.
Yeah, but I don't just mean with psychedelics. I just mean with different medicinal plants that they use. I can't think of any offhand because I'm not that familiar with the practice, but dozens of different medicinal plants they use with bee cappy one at a time to try to commune or resonate with the spirit.
Wow.
So I think what you're doing with the CBD oil is very similar to what they do in the Amazon when they try to. The bee cappy apparently enhances those properties of the plant, so they sort of like magnify them.
I think so. It's been incredible what people are reporting. I mean, you know, everything from tennis elbow to we had another comment, and they said that their grandmother, again another grandmother, she was starting to wind down in life. This time she didn't have anything serious like the other one did, but after about a week of doing the Eye of Life, she's out gardening. She's out. I mean, it's just given her like new life and new energy again. And she's like, the person wrote and was like, I'm so glad to have my grandmother back. Thank you so much. And I'm like, don't thank me. Thank the hyperspace beings, because they're the ones that told me all about this. But I'm finding more and more that the information that's coming out of hyperspace seems to add up to either ancient books or, in this case, something that really helps people. So how would you compare the information that comes out of hyperspace with the information that comes out of lucid dreaming? And what are my apprehensions about it? And as I was talking about it during the intro of the show, I started working it out within my own mind. But with dreams, I get either premonitions, a bunch of mishmash from my consciousness, or symbolism. And so it takes a level of discernment to discern dreams. But then again, I thought about it and I thought, well, this is the same with psychedelics too. You get these kind of experiences with psychedelics as well. So how do the two compare when it comes to the information you pull out?
Yeah, it is very similar. It can be very similar. I guess the main distinction, and it's not always this clear and it's not always this distinct, but I guess the main distinction would be that with the hyperspatial realms, there's more of a transpersonal or a collective consciousness that I feel like I'm tapping into, something that's beyond my individual personality. And with lucid dreaming, I feel like it's not always. I mean, sometimes I can tap into something collective or transpersonal as well, but usually it tends to be more personal, I think, with lucid dreaming.
Interesting. You know, lately I have been having dreams that are just consciousness shattering gnosis kind of dreams. And it's funny because it's not lucid dreaming because I'm not in control of the dreams, but I'm getting messages and visions and things like that, very similar to the ayahuasca experience in the dream realm. It's almost as if there was this shift that took place and now dreams have much more meaning. And the dream world it's much more colorized. I mean, it's always been color. Vivid, that's a better word, vivid. The dream world has for some reason been more vivid lately. Have you noticed this?
More lately, that it's been more vivid?
Over the last couple of years, yeah. It just seems like there's some kind of energetic shift that it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just a personal thing, but it's just more vivid.
You know, I haven't really noticed that. I mean, I've noticed during, it sort of waxes and wanes for me during different periods, depending on what's going on in my life. But it sounds like you're implying a kind of collective change. That there's some. Have other people reported this too? Or
Yeah, well,
I sure have.
Other people have reported it not only in the dream state, but people are doing like their first ayahuasca experience, and they're unlocking gnosis that it took us 10 years.
Yeah, that it took us
to get
years
to.
and years and years.
And they're
to get
having
to.
these hardcore experiences. I mean, we had a caller call in the other day. He was talking about his wife. He gave the ayahuasca to his wife. His wife had all of these past life memories and recalls, whole life reviews of everything, life reviews of him, even to the point of coming back and saying, "Hey, wait a minute. Did your ex-girlfriend, the one that she was with before, ex-fiance, was she pregnant when y'all split up?" And he's like, "No, I don't think so." And she said, "Well, she had a miscarriage. She didn't tell you about it. And there's a spirit floating around that needs your help." He picks up the phone. He calls her and he says, "Hey, did you have a miscarriage when we split up?" And she said, "Yeah, I was pregnant. Nobody knew about it." Where's she coming up with all this? First ayahuasca experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's in both ayahuasca and with lucid dreaming. You could ask, when I was talking about, speaking to the dreaming mind, you can ask questions outside of your own, personal experience. It seems like it has some kind of this psychic, quality to it, or transpersonal, where it can see beyond your personal circumstances. Many people use it that way to try to, find out about the future, or to find out about whether someone's safe or not, or that sort of thing. I mean, traditionally, psychedelic experiences are often used in indigenous situations to help find lost objects or something like that. So it's a way of tapping into a kind of knowledge that goes beyond your personal brain.
So there's a phenomenon, at least I feel it's a phenomenon, with some people, including myself, that can't be hypnotized. And I find more often than not that the people, especially willing to go deep into the psychedelic realm, are the ones that come back and also say, whether it was before or after they started their psychedelic journey, that they can't be hypnotized. And I'm wondering if there's any correlation between the inability to be hypnotized and the inability to lucid dream. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not easily hypnotized. I've had people try to hypnotize me, and I'm not easily hypnotized. I don't know that you can say that anyone is unhypnotizable. I think we all, to some extent, fall into some type of hypnotic trance, just being in the waking world and just being in this culture. There's a kind of trance state that we go into, and we only recognize it when we come out of it. And I've been lucid dreaming. I have a sort of a natural propensity towards lucid dreaming a lot, and yet I'm not easily hypnotized. I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess I've never really been asked this question before, and I'm trying to think on the spot right now, but hypnosis, I mean, it seems like somebody who falls into a kind of, rhythmic, patterned way of thinking really easily, and lucid dreaming is really about kind of establishing, higher degrees of awareness, and what's usually a more unconscious process. I'm not really sure I would see the connection. What's the connection that you see besides the fact that you've experienced both?
Well, in my opinion, I mean, there's only one thing that can hypnotize me, and that, of course, is my twin flame.
Aww.
She hypnotizes me all the time.
Of course.
She hypnotized me into getting her 2 kittens for some reason. I have no idea why.
Well, it took 3 years. It did take 3 years.
I was actually downstairs getting some yerba mate tea to give me a little boost for the evening. But I was wondering what the question was and if I could add anything to it. What was your question?
If there's any correlation between people that can't be hypnotized versus people that can't achieve the lucid dream state. And I'm wondering if it's to answer David's question real quick, the correlation that I make is that the lucid dream state seems to be a provoked state of hypnosis, I guess, for lack of a better term, because it's like kind of a self-hypnosis, in my opinion. I'm just thinking outside of the box here and just putting some pieces together. But self-hypnosis versus regular hypnosis. And so people of our type of consciousness, we're just like, all right, just, sit down and drink this tea and it will take you there. And, other people are like, well, I can hypnotize myself and I can go into these other realms. Your thoughts on any correlation between the two, or maybe there is no correlation at all, period?
Well, I mean, the state of hypnosis is a state where one is tremendously and suggestible. I mean, you're very suggestible, very similar to being on a high dose psychedelic sometimes. The state of lucid dreaming almost seems to be the opposite. I mean, you seem to be more in control, or more.
That's what I was going to say. It's basically the opposite of what you're saying, is because you have to have amazing control over your mind in order to navigate into a lucid dreaming experience, because you have to have enough control over your mind to say, wait a second, I'm dreaming right now, instead of going the way that I usually go, where I just, let the dream happen as it happens. I'm going to take control over this and steer it in the direction that I want it to. And the same thing occurs with hypnosis. If you have a lot of control over your mind, then you can't really be hypnotized.
Yes, they almost seem like they're opposites in some way. Although there also are cases where people can lucid dream without taking any kind of control. They can just passively observe in a lucid dream too. But even that takes an active mind, and I think a mind that's hypnotized or in trance is partially unconscious in a way. It's following the suggestions of whoever is doing hypnotizing. I don't know. It's something I got to think about more. I haven't really thought about it before.
That brings me to another question, though, David. Is there's an actual gene? I had a Promethease report done on my genes, and it said that I'm not susceptible to the placebo effect. And I'm wondering if that has a lot to do with it too, where I'm not susceptible to the placebo effect, and I also have trouble being hypnotized. I can't really be hypnotized, and I'm wondering if there's.
That's what she thinks.
Oh, yeah, right. Of course. He's probably hypnotizing me all the time, and I just don't realize it. But I'm wondering, do you think there might be a gene for people that are able to lucid dream, or people that have a harder time lucid dreaming? Do you think that could also be genetic?
I do. I mean, I lean towards the idea that much of the way our brain manifests is determined more by our genes than it is by the environment. I think that we're going to one day be able to decode all this and be able to genetically engineer people that are more apt at lucid dreaming and different things. But no, I think that's a good theory. I'm very curious though as to how someone can determine from one of your genes that you're not susceptible to the placebo effect. I don't know how that can really be determined. If you have information.
I think what they did was they gathered together probably a few thousand people, took their genes, mapped out their genome, and then what they did was they put them through tests to see if they could tell if they were given a placebo or they weren't given a placebo, and then they applied that data to the genome data, the genome mapping data, and then they determined, oh, well, it looks like all the people that could tell that it was a placebo had this same gene going on, and then people who did fall for the placebo, they had a different set of genes or a different phenotype of that particular gene.
That's really interesting. I'm not familiar with that, but that's really fascinating, and it makes sense to me. I mean, I think eventually we're going to discover that genes play a far more important role than we ever realized. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So
this used to be a big debate when I was in college. We used to debate this, how much
I wonder if
genes and environment.
The collective network is like this big, like all the dreams are actually like in these really many transparent layers, like just like going around in a circle, like and we somehow at night our brains are like the antennas, and we are picking up from, what's on the TV channel tonight, or what are we tapping into tonight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's the idea that in order to expand on Molly's idea, there's sort of the idea that that dreams are sometimes more personal and sometimes more transpersonal. And sometimes it's kind of like, it's like whether your computer is just offline or online. And sometimes you're just dreaming about things in your own personal life, and sometimes you're sort of connecting into something greater that everyone who's dreaming is connecting into, and then you can like tune into some kind of what's the general broadcast dream. There was somebody did a sort of a project years ago. I'm not really sure where it's at, but they had people sort of all over the world reporting what they dream about every day. And then you can see it all kind of charted out, what people are dreaming about, and see if there's patterns of people dreaming about specific things on specific days. So it'd be interesting to explore that further.
I have an idea for a topic of that possibly could be up for discussion. Real quickly, if you wanted to go into this a bit. So marijuana, cannabis, tree, reefer, the beautiful herb is one of my most favorite flowers on this planet. I do not smoke sativas, but I do enjoy indicas, and I use a little bit of indica cannabis late at night before I'm going to go to bed, because those are that is one of the ways that cannabis helps me. Is through sleeping, putting my mind at ease if I'm having any kind of anxiety at the end of the day. And it also takes away not only my dreams, but it takes away nightmares. And this is something that David, obviously, because he sleeps with me every night and he has to deal with me in my spontaneous yells in the middle of the night and punching him in the face, or all of the crazy things that come along when you're in a really crazy, chaotic dream, right?
I snore. So Cherie has to put up with my snoring.
Yeah. So get this. I knew what David was talking about. I wasn't oblivious to it. Of course, I knew what he was talking about, but I guess I just did not realize it in so much in depth as he did. And so this past week, we went to the cannabis store, and he got what he needed. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do any. I'm going to take a break. And I was like, and he was like, are you sure you really might need it for sleep? And I was like, no, I think I'm good. 4 days into this, 2 days ago, 3 days ago now, my nightmare, they start coming back, and they are so severe that I am literally waking up in the middle of the night screaming bloody murder. I mean, I am having very vivid, very, very over the top, not gory, but very surreal.
So let me jump in for just a moment. So is it a recurring dream? And let me say this too.
They're not recurring, but they're along the same recurring themes. They're the same themes, but not the same dreams, and they're not the but they are about what they're about, like witch hunts or being burned, or Jesus Christ being crucified, or hundreds of women being burned at the stake, or women being drowned. And
those are in my opinion, those are past life memories.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, these are things, and so these come up, and I understand what you're talking about, and I'm with you there about the past life memories, because these are way more exaggerated and way more in depth, and you can actually see and get a deeper insight and look into what you're dreaming about when you go on a psychedelic voyage. And so what's happening is I am having these nightmares, if you want to call them that, because they are very scary. They are scary as fuck. And but these came back 2 nights in a row. The night before last, I woke up in the morning screaming 2 nights. And the thing is, I will not go to bed until I see that sun coming up, and I can close my eyes because I'm a very visual person, with or without psychedelics. I do not need psychedelics to go into that place because I've already been there so many times. It's just a natural thing for me. I'm a clairvoyant, I'm naturalistic at being able to tap into the consciousness, all one consciousness, the collective.
I know what you mean, Molly. I found myself to be in the same place, and the reason I use psychedelics now is more just to remind myself how fake this reality is. Like every once in a while, like if I'm taking life a little too seriously, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go take a psychedelic trip and like put everything into perspective again.
Right. I get you on that. And so, but I wanted to just finish really quick my story though. The point to the story is, I came out of, these nightmares, and so anyways, I got the pot though. I smoked the pot, and for the past 2 nights, I have not had any. Now, I hate that it takes away the dreams, because I can't remember any of the dreams, but it does for right now. It's actually helping me because I can't remember the dreams, so I can't have a nightmare. Or if I'm having the nightmares, then at least I'm not remembering them, and I can sleep. I can actually sleep at night. So this is truly a really profound medication, and I'm so blessed and lucky that we are able to just go right up the road and get whatever we need, our medicine, and bring it home. And then I only need, it's not like I'm getting blazed out of my mind. That's cool if you do that, but me, 2-3 totes, I'm done. That's all I need. I eat well, I go to sleep at night, and I don't have any nightmares. I mean, how cool is that, right?
Today, the FedEx guy pulled up, and he was jamming Jimi Hendrix. I'm sitting in the studio recording, and I'm like, who the hell is blasting music outside? I look out, it's the FedEx guy. And I'm like, all right, I got to go give this guy an edible. And I realized, pro tip here, ladies and gentlemen, get a bag of edibles, which are like the little, what are they called? Sour belts. Yeah. And you can give them out as tips to the delivery guys. I was like, oh, this is fantastic.
It's kind of like using dog treats to reward.
If you have the money to do that, more power to you. I do it. But I mean, actually, I honestly think the cost of marijuana now is kind of ridiculous to me.
In California,
But I
yes. Here in Washington, a bag of those Sour Patch things, and they come in like 10 milligram doses, and you get, I don't know, I think like 15 doses in them is like $20.
Nothing.
They're like $1
I mean,
a
that's
piece.
something,
Yeah.
that's something to us, but for someone like David, in other words, who does have a high tolerance and really actually, he honestly does need it for, his own thing. He's been using it for a while, and he's been a part of LAMP since 1993 or 1995. And, he, has used the sacred medicine, and he couldn't live without it. And so for people like him, he needs quite a bit. And it's just outrageous that this man has worked his butt off his whole his whole life, and has really given his whole heart, mind, spirit, everything into his writings and trying to help other people. And it saddens me that he has to go and he can barely afford to get his medicine.
Yeah. No, the prices in California are freaking ridiculous.
It's really not that bad at all. It's really not. It's not bad. It's actually, I can't tell you how happy I am and how wonderful it is that I could finally. It's not really, the price is really not that different.
I'm talking about people that don't that wouldn't have the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not so much us, but people like you that would need it like you do that don't have the money to get it. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
David, let me ask you this, back to dreams real quick, because I know we've got to wrap it up here in a few moments. So this is kind of going a little bit off the topic, but it's staying in the realm of dreams. So my entire life, up until about 5 years ago, I have had this recurring dream, and it's about a murder, but I never see the murder. It's always the aftermath of the murder. It's always that feeling, oh crap, I'm going to go to jail for the rest of my life. I've had dreams where I'm like swinging in a swing, and then all of a sudden my feet are on the ground and they're digging up this body, and I'm like, oh crap, I did this. And I'm thinking back to my teenage years, and I'm like, this is the first time I've ever said this out loud. I mean, I've said it to Cherie before, but I'm thinking back to my teenage years and going, did we kill somebody and I like suppress that memory? But it was like this recurring dream, and then all of a sudden about 5 years ago, it stopped. Any insight into that? Symbolism, anything like that?
Interesting. Wow. Well, I would imagine it's symbolic. It's not about a real dead body. It's about something. When did the dreams start? In your teenage years? You said that.
Yeah, I mean, since I was like 20, from like 20 to 35. I mean, this was like a recurring dream. That's why the first thing I asked Molly is it a recurring dream?
I would think about whether or not there was something that occurred during the time when the dreams first started that seemed like a part of you died or was suppressed in some way, or that there was a part of you that felt like it was buried or something, and that you're in more recent years, I mean, the swing that's like slowly going over the earth is slowly uncovering it. It's like you're slowly bringing it to the surface. Something that you buried long ago is being slowly brought to the surface, and apparently something happened during a psychedelic experience or something that resolved it for you, apparently, so that you don't feel that something is buried any longer.
Oh, you just gave me chills, because when it stopped is when I had my ayahuasca experiences where I was opening up these boxes. And as I was opening up the boxes, I remembered all these childhood traumas. And I dealt with all my traumas just like you do in ayahuasca, and that was that. After I cut the tethers, the dream stopped. I think you nailed it. Wow.
Isn't it interesting that other people can often see the symbolic nature of our dreams much more clearly than we can? I mean, I sometimes talk to people, really dull people who don't have any insight, really lacking insight, and I'll tell them my dream, and they'll like point out to me what it was about in a way that I just didn't recognize. It's happened to me more than once. So and like you just, Molly tells me dream supplies, and I can easily see what so it's oftentimes easier for someone else to see what the symbolic nature of a dream is, because the whole reason that it's coming to us in the symbolic nature is because we're having a hard time seeing it for some reason.
And so other people can point it out, and I cannot tell you how many times, every time I have a dream that I'm pondering on, and I go to David and I say, look, this is the dream, this is what's happened. And every time he can see right, oh, well, this is an easy one. And he will go into just full blown out psychotherapist mode, and bam, bam, bam. This is, possibility that this is because of this, and this is why, and just the whole 4-9. And it's like, oh my gosh, I know very intuitively, I can feel it in mind, body, spirit. That's it. He's wonderful. He's a wonderful person to talk to about these things.
The Dream Whisperer.
Yes.
David
really.
J. Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick, David, Dreaming Wide Awake. I know it's one of your older works, and you've got a lot of things in the works now. Molly was telling me about some of the other things you have coming up, and I think it's freaking amazing. But I would say that this is the go-to book for people that want to start lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
So where can they get that book?
It's published by Inner Traditions. So you can get it from the Inner Traditions website. It's available from Amazon. It's available from RebeccaAnnHill.com. Pretty much any bookstore carries it. It's a pretty easy book to get. I do think it's my best book. I really do. It was published, I guess, around about 4 years ago. It's not that much older, but it brings together 25 years of work on the subject, things I've been thinking about for a really long time. And like I said, I was really surprised that no one had tried to draw, the correlations between lucid dreaming and psychedelics before, when they really seemed so obvious to me. So it was a really fun book to do, and I really enjoy doing it, and I still love lucid dreaming as much as I can.
Well, and that's what I love and respect about both you and the work itself, is that you have the reference point. You know the psychedelic experience. You know where people are going. I see so many people out there, and they're like, oh, well, I can teach you to have these experiences like this and like that. And I ask them, well, how much psychedelic experience do you have? None at all. Okay, well, if you don't have any, then you have no reference point as to where you're going. You have the reference points. You can take people there and show them alternate methods. And I think that is phenomenal.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate those kind and thoughtful words. You have remarkable abilities as well to be able to bring people to other realms and to draw connections that other people don't see. So we're all working on this together and trying to create a better world.
We are. You guys freaking rock. And is there anything we didn't touch upon? Anything you guys wanted to get into? Because I know that we're limited on time, but feel free, either of you.
We are limited on time right now, but I did want to mention that David and I just had a book published together by Inner Traditions, and the name of this book is called Women of Visionary Art, and we put this book together in 2.5 years, and it was a lot of time, energy, dedication, love, overall just mighty magical powers that went into this process. And it is a beautiful, one-of-a-kind 384-page hardwood hardcover full color art pages, just art, beautiful interviews by 18 women visionary artists alive today, and that spit out amazing insights and true wisdom. And you've got to read this book, and you have to look at the images and let it open up your mind and heart, and be attentive to really draw in the message that is trying to get across in this book, and that we are all one consciousness, and that we need to work together and treat our dear ones, our beloved brothers and sisters, like they are brothers and sisters, because that's what it is. We are all here together, and we need to act like it. We don't need to be against one another. We need to be for one another. And so I think that this book just brings on such a great wealth of knowledge and insight, but also a togetherness. And I want to spread, David and I would really love to spread this message of love and peace and creativity. And so if you would gravitate over to my page, RebeccaAnnHill.com. That's RebeccaAnnHill.com, and go to the page that says, Women of Visionary Art, and you can read there the reviews that we've received so far, the back cover blurbs. You can actually get little sneak peek windows of, some of the interviews and some of the paintings And we hope that you will think about buying autographed copy from either David and I. And you can also find it on Inner Traditions, or you can find it on Amazon.
Well, people in the chat room are already talking about buying it for Mother's Day gifts.
Oh, that would be a perfect Mother's Day's gift.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, it's fascinating. I'm actually in the process of getting my website on. It will be on probably in the next 15 minutes, and then they'll be able to buy it.
You guys are awesome.
And I can do my little wrap up too. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the work that we're presently doing. I'm currently working on a book right now about the future evolution of the human species. That's the book that I've got going. It's around third done right now. I've been interviewing a number of remarkable people for it. It explores technology and ecological awareness. And I'm also going to be starting my own video web series. And to find out more about that, you can stay in touch on my website, www.davidjbrown.com. And, I just really also want to encourage...
Now, David, real quick, that's David J. Brown, spelled Jay, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure people can get that, yeah.
Yeah, my full middle name, spelled out DAVIDJAYBROWN.com. And I also just want to say that, psychedelic experiences are so fascinating and so wonderful, and they can help to lead towards personal growth and mystical experiences and all kinds of incredible things. But really the most important thing about psychedelics is they help to increase ecological awareness. They help to make people more aware of the environment. With the climate change that's occurring in the world right now, that is the number one pressing problem. Our species and the whole biosphere is in danger right now. We have around 10 years left to turn things around. I don't know of anything that will turn someone around overnight, like Scrooge and the Christmas Carol, besides the psychedelic experience. Mm-hmm. There is not much time left. I highly encourage everyone to donate to organizations like MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, the Hefter Foundation, the Berkeley Foundation, any organization that's doing psychedelic drug research, because the more we learn scientifically and the more we can educate people, I think the better off we'll be and the better chance we'll have of surviving this enormous challenge that's facing us as a species right now.
Well said. Quick question for you, David. So a friend of mine came to me, and this is a friend here in like my physical space. And it's funny because I often make a joke that all of my best friends are in a box that's made up of ones and zeros, as above, so below, simulated reality theory. But if somebody in my physical space came to me, and they're very Christian, and they had a really bad experience on sativa, as Molly pointed out earlier, and so they've been very apprehensive about anything mind altering. But I've been talking to them about psychedelics, and they've been interested. They actually they went to their partner and said, "How do you feel about taking mushrooms or something like that?" And the partner was like, "Hell yeah, I want to do this." And so this other person is like, "Well, hold on, I'm very apprehensive about this." And I told him, I said, "Look, don't worry. I'm not going to blast you off into hyperspace. First time. I'm going to take you in slowly. Then when you're ready, I'll take you in deeper." And so this person's really considering it, and it's going to be a life-changing event for them. I'm just trying to figure out in my own mind, what's the best approach? A gram or two of mushrooms, maybe a hit or two of DMT, ayahuasca. I don't think I don't think ayahuasca is the key here. What do you think for somebody like that has never had a psychedelic experience? What is a good first step for them?
I think a good first step is to not do a psychedelic at all, but to do something that can help to trigger those states of consciousness a little less abruptly, like an isolation tank, a flotation tank. An isolation tank can produce a pretty powerful lucid dream-like, out-of-body, psychedelic-like experience without it really being threatening, the people feeling relaxed afterwards. I think that would be the best way to ease somebody into altered states of consciousness that might be threatening to some people. Even a low dose of mushrooms can be a lot for some people. It really depends. Everybody is so individual, and people react so differently. But my suggestion really is to have someone sort of very, very slowly go out through meditation and through flotation tanks before they engage in something as powerful as a as a strong plant medicine, which is guaranteed to flatten their ego and blow their mind. Right?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Anyway.
if there's no flotation tank available,
Let's just say, for the sake
then
of
what's
argument.
the good? Maybe Molly. Molly, take this one.
So what is this now? I'm sorry, because I was actually asking, I was sending Cherie a message on Facebook Messenger, so I was kind of not listening. I'm very sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
What was the question?
No. So somebody who's interested in their first psychedelic experience, but has been apprehensive about altered states of consciousness, your opinion on how to ease them into the experience? Like a hit of DMT, maybe a gram of mushrooms, small doses.
Okay, I am not putting out any kind of medical advice here. I am not a physician by any means, and you know this.
Nobody thinks you are, so no worries about that.
And I'm actually not even recommending this, okay? I am just, if I were to give out some kind of recommendation, though I'm not, I don't want anybody to do this. Do not try this at home, kids. So I would say it depends on, everything to me comes down to these two things, set and setting. So your set is your frame of mind. How are you feeling today? Where are you at? Are you nervous? Of course, everybody is going to have that itty bitty, that feeling of fear. You're about to take a fungi, a psychedelic drug, and challenging things can kill them up if they need to, and so there is that little bit of fear factor there. But I mean an overall state of, are you in a good place in your life right now to be taking a psychedelic? Are there big things that are hovering over your head that you have not taken care of yet? That would get in the way of the experience if that's not what kind of experience you're aiming for, if you're not specifically talking about that. And then you have your setting, your environment, how aesthetically pleasing is everything around you, and how are you make sure that you are comfortable, that you have a nice trip sitter nearby, that you have a fuzzy blanket, that you have your journal and a colored pencil so you can draw. If you can't write your experience, make sure that you have aesthetically pleasing, blankets and pillows around you, and throws, and posters or art books to look at, and water, fruit. Is also very cool and grounding, and will keep you, hydrated and at bay, and just and actually fruit is really, really good on during that psychedelic journey. But so that will kind of ground you and keep you with good heights there. But so I guess what I'm getting at is make sure that you are in a good set and setting, and that you have an intention for the night. Make sure that you are very clear on your intentions too. If you don't know what you need as an intention, then I would say for sure, just say that, look, I want to come into this with a positive outlook. I don't understand my intentions at this moment, but if you could, I would love to surrender into this experience tonight and show me what it is that you'd like to show me. What is it that I need to know about myself? How can I help improve myself in any way that you would like to show me? Or is there anything that I need to know that I am being completely oblivious to? Please show me and hold me and help me get through this experience.
Well said. I don't mean to cut you off, Molly, but Cherie just told me that you were going to stay on with this, and I want to let David go because I know he's really, really slammed right now. And David, again, the time that you've taken to spend with us out of your busy schedule is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated.
Okay, so that was my round experience. But here's David back.
Okay.
But so we're going to get going, and I will talk to you guys here soon.
Awesome.
Excellent.
David, again, thank you so much, brother. We really appreciate it. And whenever the new work comes out, please let us know because we would love to help you promote it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get together and chat again really soon. This has been really fun. It's always fun talking to you guys. You guys are great.
You too, David.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay, thanks so much for having us on. We'll talk again soon. Take care.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. And I think Molly, is that what we're going to do? Molly's going to join us here in a little bit? Okay, cool. So we're going to go get our other 2 special guests real quick during the break so we can introduce them to everybody.
I miss them already.
Yes, part of the Geo clan, the new ones, our new arrivals here. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back.
All the conflict and strife throughout history, all the fear and hatred, serve but one purpose: to keep my master's wheel turning. The coin is still turning. All souls were prisoners, trapped in the pointless round of existence, leading distracted, blunted lives until death returned them, always in ignorance, to the wheel. But what hope had there been?
There is no escape.
It was then I knew what I had to do. I alone could end this.
And it was then I saw. So, I am revealed to you at last. What in hell? I am the origin of life, the devourer of death. I am the hub of the wheel, the purifying cycle to which all souls must be drawn. You would be wise to heed me.
Your words are heartening. For you would not fear us unless we could truly do you harm.
No! You are nothing!
False God. This is the end. The final turn of your wheel.
Remember to walk uprightly and circumscribe your desires. As we travel upon the level of time, to that undiscovered state of consciousness, traveling to the place where once obtained, no traveler returns. The place of raw consciousness which awaits us when we have passed beyond the veil.
All right, we are back with the newest members of Beyond the Veil. And it's the first time they're in the studio, so they're looking around and they're like, hey, what's going on here? I don't know if you can see them very well, though, because it's black on black. So this is Sekhmet that I have in my hands here. Sekhmet is the longer-haired one. Somebody asked, how can we tell the difference?
Bastet.
And Cherie has...
Bastet.
Hold on, we can't
This
hear
is
you.
Bastet.
It's Bastet.
Yes.
So Sekhmet and Bastet, we just got them today. This was Cherie's birthday present and something that she's been asking about for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, somebody mentioned earlier, you know, they're transmitters of energy. They look... Sekhmet's like, what the hell's going on here? I think she knows she's in front of a live audience. She looks almost catatonic. She's like, whoa, the energy's just so heavy in here.
Mine's freaking out a little bit, so Bastet's freaking out. Just a little
Don't let
bit,
her chew the
so-
wire.
No,
Sekhmet's really chilled. But yeah, they're small babies, and they were totally cool the whole way home. They fell asleep. They've been totally cool here. They love it here. Like,
they love
you know,
it.
downstairs they were running around and they ate. And then they slept, and they slept on our laps for a little bit. And then, yeah, now they're looking at the lights going, whoa, wait a minute. I've never seen anything like this before. I think she's watching the screen here, and she's watching the chat, as a matter of fact. Oh. Where is Bastet?
She's
Did
on my
you let
lap.
it- oh,
No,
well,
she's on my lap.
Oh.
I don't want to lift her up because she keeps,
Oh.
her claws just keep coming out. She's,
Oh.
and her heart's like racing.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So-
Sekhmet is totally cool.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, no, I love this. I love being on camera. So, yeah.
I think she might have pooted too because she's,
Oh.
yeah, because
These
she's
are
so
the new members.
stressed.
Do you want to take them back to the
In a minute.
to
yeah.
the bathroom? Yeah, they were. You know what? It's the light in the bathroom that they don't like.
I'm gonna
That's why they
turn
were.
off that-
That's why they were hiding behind.
Yeah,
there.
I'll turn off the main light.
But turn off the main light, but make sure they have at least one light in there,
Yeah.
and then we'll take them out again and
Yeah.
snuggle with them and do all that good stuff. But
yeah.
these are our babies, and we're kind of committed now for the next 15, 20 years, however long they're here.
Okay.
And Sekhmet and Bastet.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go.
Oh, you want me to take them?
No, we can hold on to them for a minute.
I can take them.
Yeah, I think we should take them so we can continue
Yeah.
with the show.
Yeah.
Sekhmet's all about it. She's like, I'm loving this.
Yeah, she's
Uh-huh.
built for TV.
Yeah. She looks like a little owl, actually. On camera.
She's not purring. I thought she was purring. Hi, baby.
It's like, whoa, the lights.
There we go.
So, we wanted to introduce you to the newest members of our family. So, I don't know why. I just feel like they're going to play a role in whatever we're doing. They've always been familiars. They've always helped out in rituals and things like that. And a lot of people really have connected with their cats, especially dogs too, but cats more so in the psychedelic experience in the psychedelic realm. So it's nice to have other beings here that are there. The Egyptians, they revered cats for I speculate their spiritual properties, their spiritual abilities. That's a better term. They're transmuters of energy. They can see negative energy, transmute that, get rid of that. They're protector spirits and whatnot. And so far on this journey, we haven't had any, because I had these two. I'm gonna see if I can pull up a picture of them real quick. They were Snickers and Skittles, and it was. Give me just a second to find a picture here, so I can show you what I'm talking about. They were little Chihuahua dachshunds, and we had a third one named Rico too. But Rico, here they are. Okay, here's the three little shits right here. So so this is Skittles, Snickers, and the white one is Rico. And Rico, actually, this is kind of a funny story. The neighbor wasn't treating him very good. And hold on, let me change this camera view here. Okay. So the neighbor wasn't treating him very good, and he would constantly come over, like constantly. And they would lock him in the garage all the time. And Snickers and Skittles would want to go play with him. And he was constantly coming over. So we take him back, and the owner would just go, "Oh yeah, thanks," and then throw him in the garage. And we're like, that's no way for a dog to live. So we moved, and Rico came over while we were moving. And we're like, okay, we're taking Rico with us too. I know that was horrible, but Rico enjoyed himself so much more. But anyway, Snickers and Skittles. I had these guys for 13 years. And Skittles had congestive heart failure. And it lasted a couple of years, and I finally had to put him down when he was about 13. And 12, 13. And it was really painful. Like, we went up to the mountain, and the vet gave me the needle and put it in him, and then said, "Here, push the button whenever you're ready to let him go." And he went and he saw another dog running by, and he went and he barked, and then just collapsed in my arms. And I saw how bad his chest was. Like, he was still trying. He was trying so hard. But I let him go. And it was really painful. It took a piece of my heart with me. And this was in like 2012, 2013. And I was like, I can't go through this again. And it was just, it was really painful. And then Snickers died shortly after that. And I was like, okay, that's it. You know, no more animals for now anyways, because I needed time for my heart to heal. But my heart was hurting me right around the time that Skittles got the congestive heart failure. And I never went to the doctor to get it checked out, but I could feel there was something seriously wrong with my heart. Like, I would just like, it was almost like an anxiety type of pressing on my heart that I couldn't breathe. And it went away when Skittles got sick. And Cherie had a similar experience with a cat named Bast. Babette. Babette was the name. Very close to Bastet when she was younger. And she was dying of pneumonia. And Babette came and she sat on top of her chest. And Cherie got better. Babette died of pneumonia. And for the longest time, Cherie, this happened when she was like 12 or 13 or something like that. And for the longest time, she thought that she had killed the cat. And I don't think that's the case. I think that sometimes these little helper spirits come through to help us, not only in our rituals, not only in our companionship, not only in our emotional states, but sometimes they actually have the ability to take things away that otherwise were meant and directed for us. And they really do act as protectors. So when I put Skittles down, I felt horrible. And then we did a show with an author, and he wrote a book called The Legacy of Boomer and Beezer. And during this show, he really broke it down for me. And he said, look, we're responsible for making sure that they are happy, that they have lived a happy life, that they're fed, that they're not in pain, that they're healthy, etc., etc. He said, we also have the responsibility to let them go peacefully when it's time for them to go. And he said, look, if the dog is in more pain than it is being taken care of, than it is having good days, if it's having more bad days than good days, and there's no chance for a solution, that's when it's time to let him go. And looking back, I waited too long to let Skittles go. I should have let him go way before. But he looked at me one day, and the thought wasn't even in my mind. There was this telepathic communication. He's like, dude, I got to go right now. And I just picked him up immediately and just took him straight to the vet. And I said, look, I gotta let him go. And we went and we got him really nice dinner and all this stuff. And then he looked at all the mountains and everything as we were going through the mountains. And he had that one last bark at the dog, and then collapsed and just no more. He couldn't do it anymore. So, they really are our children. And in previous shows, I've said, they're NPCs. And they really, in my opinion, they are. But people have chastised me about that. I don't think that there's an actual consciousness on the other side in the real world controlling these little animals. But they are spirits, and they are consciousness, and they are still sentient, and they are still part of this reality here. I don't have an illusion that when I wake up from this, I'm going to go see Skittles and Snickers, And I know, some people like to think they're going to die and they're going to go to heaven. And when thank you, baby. And when they go to heaven, they're going to see all their dogs and all their animals and everything like that's going to be left behind. I don't have that illusion, but I do understand the importance of them. And I understand the role that they play here. And I understand the sacrifice that they can make sometimes to take ailments away from us, to be protectors of negative energy. And I think the Egyptians knew this too, which is why they revered especially the felines so much. And actually Sekhmet and Bastet are the protectors of the pharaohs. That was their two roles, the goddesses, not Sekhmet and Bastet here, but the goddesses, Sekhmet and Bastet, were the protectors of the pharaohs. And I was joking with a friend of mine, and I said, you know why? It's because men can't be trusted. You got to have the women protecting, because the women can be trusted. But it's even more than that. It's the feminine energy, which I think the cats, the felines, whether they're male or female, they carry that feminine energy. The feminine energy has the compassion while it's protecting as well, instead of the warrior, go kill, 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 etc., etc. So yeah, those are my thoughts here.
I think they're an incredibly important part of this reality. And when a lot of the time, whenever I hear people talking about the difference between NPC consciousness and organic consciousness, that kind of gets lost when people are talking about, oh, well, there's definitely a difference, and we don't need to spend as much time worrying about the NPCs because they're just computer programs. And yeah, they are computer programs, but they're sentient. And not only that, but they're an important part of this reality. They're not. I mean, this reality wouldn't be able to function without them. They're an integral part of this reality, and especially the animal consciousness. It's incredibly important to have them here, and so that's why when we brought our babies home, we were very excited. I went in there just now. And me and Chris, we think about these things like, oh, okay, well, they don't like how bright it is in here. So they want to sleep, they want to cuddle and sleep behind the laundry basket because that's where it's nice and, cuddly, and it's dark behind there. So, I moved their little cat bed to behind there, and try to make things as comfortable for them as possible because we care. It doesn't matter to us whether they're little NPCs or not. The fact of the matter is, regardless of what kind of consciousness they are little consciousness. And we do have to take care of them. That's actually part of the organic consciousness's job, is to take care of the NPC consciousness. Because a lot of times also I hear people talk about them the way that you would hear slave owners talk about their slaves back in the 1800s. That so they're there to help you, but that doesn't mean you can just abuse them. It doesn't mean that you can, treat them as second class.
Yeah, and what I always say is NPCs are just as real as we are in the real world. This is really their world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this place, it is where they exist, just like we exist out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah. So Molly's going to be joining us here in a few minutes. She's,
is she still on the line, or is she doing the call back?
She's actually going to be on Skype, and it's going to be with video.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Cool. She's logging on to Skype right now, and she will be messaging us when she is ready. So, excellent.
Fantastic. So,
really, really just sent a donation as a baby shower gift.
Thank you for the love. Really.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
It's nice to have a little life again. Like, I was like, oh my God, why do you want something that craps in a box in the house? And then as soon as I saw them, my heart just melted.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, they're so cute.
Yeah, they're adorable.
I really missed having life. The only thing I don't like about it is I can't just up and leave. Like, we went to Egypt and we didn't know when we were coming back. We were gone 45 days. We can't do that now.
We couldn't do that now. Yeah.
Unless I call a friend and I'm like, hey, can you come and check on the cats every day?
Right. Or, have somebody actually come and stay at the house and house sit for us for that entire time. One or the other.
Yeah.
But we have friends here, and we have people that we know, and, we're supported.
Brent has a cat named Anubis, black cat.
Yeah, or Brent could come and stay at the house.
That's a good point.
For a couple weeks.
Yeah, okay.
This is a comfortable house.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we would find a way.
Rad Ray said she'll come babysit.
When we go to the second site, we will have somebody come and stay here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. It'll all work itself out. That's what I was worried about. I'm like, look, we can't bind ourselves to anything. Children included.
Well, yeah, children I can see. Yeah, you can't leave a baby, with a house sitter for 45 days. But a few cats, yeah, you can. Okay. So, yeah, everything's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to.
All right. If you say so, Mrs.
babies.
Gio.
I needed babies.
Yep.
If we're not going to have babies, I want at least something cute and small and, that I can cuddle, that will, that I can be mama to for several years.
Red Ray said, "You guys sound like me trying to figure out how to go on vacation while having a child." I know. They bind, and they're beautiful. That's the one thing. Well, at least me, I will never know in this life the joys that it is to be a parent. And I think about that, and I'm like, you know what? We've talked about this because Sheree and I are getting to that point where it's like, all right, if we don't have a baby now, we're going to be beyond the point. And it's not the ability to have one. It's just, it's not fair to the child, because if we die when the child's 20, 25, 30, I know how rough it is for a person. Like, my mother died when I was like 28 or 30 or something like that. I think I was about 30. I was way too young. So I'm like, it's just not fair. It's not fair to the child if we do that. And so we have to make a decision now. But then it's like, I don't know. It's one of those sacrifices, It's a child sacrifice. I mean, it really is. It's like, okay, well, we're doing our work, so we're going to sacrifice having a child for the work that we're doing here. But, some people tell me, though, you'll never understand, though, when that child comes up to you and says, "I love you," the impact that it has on your soul. Yeah. And there's nothing like, having a child, and then you look into that child's eyes for the first time, and your heart just melts. It's like what you experienced with the cats, except times a million. It is like that. However, that's not for this life. It's not something that it's something we've done in probably 1,000 lifetimes before this one. And this lifetime is all about the mission. And yes, we can get surrogates that kind of, take the place of that feeling, just to get a fix of that feeling in this life. But if we were to have a baby now, we would be so old by the time it was graduating high school that it's not right to put a child through that. I'm looking for Molly.
Yeah, she'll be ready in about 10 minutes.
Okay, it seems like my entire life I'm looking for Molly. No, I'm serious. Like, from the time I'm 15 years old, it's constantly like, "Hey, you got some Molly? Have you seen Molly?
Right. She said she'll be ready in about 10 minutes. Okay, so
fantastic.
Yeah, I think we can wait 10 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's...
So, somebody had asked earlier in the esoteric group about death experiences, and we did this kind of funny thing. It was like, we have the coolest mods in there, and they're like, all right, let's do some group bonding here. All right, let's confess. I confess this and that and blah blah blah. Like, she had an attraction to one of the other guys in the Facebook group, and so everybody was like writing like little confessions like that. Like, I confess that the bikini and lingerie baristas here in the area all know us by name.
Yes, they do.
And
like,
they still look to Sheree for approval before shaking their tits. Like, is this okay with you? Yeah, okay.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not jealous.
So somebody in the group, he said, I have a confession to make. He said, when I was about, I don't remember the exact age, I think he said like 12 or 13 or something like that. He said, I had an experience where my uncle put a gun to my head and was going to kill my aunt, me, and several other people, and the gun would not work. It just jammed. And the police were amazed that any of us survived this situation. And I mean, he went really in depth of what happened to him. And I got to thinking, about my mind just went in two different directions here. I'm like, okay, what's the point?
What is the point?
No. What's the point I want to stay on? Because I've got something else here that I just thought of that I'm like, oh, this would fit in perfect here. I guess I'll just stick to the original thing that I was saying. So this guy posted about how he had this experience. And he said, I just looked at that gun in my face as the trigger was clicking. Mm-hmm. And I had no fear, nothing like that, because I just somehow knew that it was going to lock. And I was only like 12, 13 years old. And I mean, it was a remarkably deep experience. And I thought to mind, you know what? have you ever considered the possibility that you did die on that day?
Mm-hmm.
And that you just remember the gun not working because you were so embedded in the time stream that you can't die. And so you did die, but then you came right back and with events changed. And I said, this has happened to me several times in my life. And somebody said, this is really intriguing. Can you explain more? Excuse me. So I've talked about this before. When we were teenagers, we were just absolutely insane.
Yeah, they really were.
Molly's writing.
Oh.
So we were absolutely insane. I mean, there was times when we would do like 6 different drugs all at once that by all normal standards, you should not do at all, period. Yeah, like it's like it two that like counteract one another. There were times when we should have been dead in all accounts where we were not. There was one time I was just completely out of my mind on a 5-day binge.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about this before. And we take some Molly on the 5th day, and I'm in the bathroom, and my girlfriend's banging, bam, 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 bam. Oh my God, I think he died. I think he died. I think he died. And they burst the door down, and I'm like covered in blood. And they look at me and they're like, oh my God, are you alive? Oh my God, what's going on? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never felt better in my life. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I get up and I look at myself, I'm covered in blood, and I'm like feeling like just completely and totally
in
euphoric,
bliss.
in complete bliss, like better than I've ever felt in my life. And I looked at myself and I'm like, all right, I got to stop what I'm doing because I should not be feeling this good. But I think I died in that part, in that experience. There was another time I was driving down the street and something just told me, just get off the freeway right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving from one city to another, from Dallas to Houston. There was no reason for me to get off the freeway, but something just told me, get off the freeway right now.
Mm-hmm.
Take the exit. As soon as I take the exit, this car goes spinning out of control and comes from the left lane all the way over and hits the guardrail on the right lane. Had I not taken that exit, that car would have smashed right into me. That time, remember you and I were driving?
Mm-hmm.
We were driving and all of a sudden this deer, we come like inches away from hitting this deer.
Yeah.
And we're doing about 70 miles an hour down the back roads of freaking Idaho.
Right.
It's totally dark. You can't see anything. All of a sudden, inches away.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, did we die at that point too?
Yep.
There was another time I'm driving down the freeway. I hydroplane into an 18-wheeler. I come inches away from this 18-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
Just managed to just get back on the road and just, get a hold of the car and get back on the road, inches away from this 18-wheeler. And I think to myself, did I die in that situation?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just reinserted back into the time stream because my role, along with many others, like this guy I was talking to about having the gun just all of a sudden just jam when this guy's got a gun to his face trying to shoot him.
Right.
Multiple times, and they're waiting for the police to get here, and this guy's messing with the gun and trying to get it to work. I think we did die, but we're so embedded within the time stream that we can't.
Right.
Because we have to walk through what we
came here to do.
Mm-hmm. And so there's nothing that can take us out of the game. Except our own stupidity. I mean, like I've said before, if we go and walk in front of an 18-wheeler, I mean, I don't even know, maybe even that. I mean, I've never tested this thesis here, and I don't have any intention of testing this thesis, but, walking in front of an 18-wheeler and going, oh, well, let's see, and then the 18-wheeler just magically just passes right through you or something like that. I mean, you remember in Egypt, we almost died like 3 times on freaking Facebook live stream.
Yeah, we live streamed
Some guy's
it too.
taking us out in the desert with a freaking MK4 or whatever the fucking gun is that he had in his hand. People on the live stream are like, get out of there. One guy said, this is where you died last time. Remember that, turn around right now. And we did. And of course, we weren't reading the comments because Cherie's holding the freaking camera down here covertly, just,
trying not to set off the guy with the gun.
Yeah. And I'm like, walk 6 feet behind me. I'm going to walk over here. If he points that gun up at any moment in time, I'm going to jump on him. That at least gives you a little bit of time
to get away.
Yeah. And we just turned around, freaking boom, gone out of there.
Yeah.
So I wonder what you guys and gals think about that. Is that something, kind of a possibility here? I was talking with Kev Baker earlier, and Kev Baker is having this quantum physics guy on. What is his name here? I just actually watched one of his TED Talks, and Kev was like, "Oh hell yeah, man!" Gordy Rose. He's like a huge quantum computer scientist, and I didn't know I was watching Gordy Rose. I didn't know who Gordy Rose was. I was just watching a TED Talk about quantum computers, and Kev was like, "Holy shit, man! I'm having him on." As a matter of fact, I can plug that real quick. May 8th on the Kev Baker Show at tfrlive.com. That's the link right up there. Well, you can see it right above Cherie. Yeah, point upwards with your left hand.
With my left hand.
Yeah, there you go. There
you go.
tfrlive.com.
tfrlive.com.
And you can check that out. Gordy Rose. So Gordy Rose was talking about multiple dimensions and multiple timelines, and how there are so many dimensions out there, and what quantum computers do is they tap into another dimension and pull information out from that dimension and kind of merge the two dimensions. Well, since they started using these quantum computers, then we started having Mandela effects and things like that, and seemingly merger of dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
However, or merger of timelines, I should say. However, the one thing that I told Kev, and I said, look, this is where I can't wrap my head around the whole multiple timeline scenario, is that my consciousness right here and right now feels whole. Like, this is me. I'm Chris Gio. Enjoy yourself. You know? This is me right here. This is the raw consciousness right here. I told Kev, I said, look, if there's a million timelines, and I'm just using a million, some people say it's infinite, but I'm using a million just to make, the point that I'm making here. If there's a million, that means there's 1 in a million chance that I'm real, because the other ones are copies walking around in the different timelines. I feel like we've had this conversation before, maybe in another timeline. So they're copies. And so I can't wrap my head around that. Like, how do I know that I'm the 1 in a million or 1 in the infinite that is actually experiencing the real timeline? How do I know the other copy out there is not experiencing the timeline? But you know what? I remember we had this conversation before, and you brought up a really interesting point about ourselves and other timelines being NPCs and being NPC bodies, and being able to jump our raw consciousness from this timeline to that timeline.
And that's why we're able to jump from timeline to timeline, because those are just kind of placeholder people.
And that explains the walk-in phenomenon too. You feel like you're a walk-in. Well, you're not really a walk-in, but you're a walk-in in that timeline, in your version of yourself in that timeline.
Exactly.
So, I remember now we were speculating on the idea that perhaps everybody is organic, but we're only seeing a certain amount of organic consciousness within this timeline. Other organic consciousness exists in the other timeline. So, an NPC that may be a real player in another timeline, and you are the NPC in the other timeline. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know.
Possibly.
But the idea of fractured consciousness, as I've said before, I don't like, because that means that the game is unbeatable, and that we can't get all of our fractals because we're fractured into all these different timelines. It's about wholeness and finding wholeness within this timeline right here and right now.
Right.
But it was really interesting though. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Mrs. Gio?
I'm thinking that, well, yeah, I mean, you basically just shared all of my thoughts. So thank you. But I don't feel like there are bits and pieces of me in different timelines right this second. I don't feel like I'm a fractured person or a fractured soul, that there are, infinite amounts of myself, scattered across this multiverse simulation. I don't feel like that. I feel like if there are other timelines and other dimensions that I, Cherie Gio, exist in, that I'm not me. That isn't me. That's a placeholder NPC soul that could be me if I choose to embed myself in that timeline. And if I don't, then it stays as a vacant timeline with a placeholder version of me inside of it.
It could be. So that's a thought.
That's a thought.
That's a thought.
Thoughts are...
I mean, it's very possible for the system to be running multiple simulations. That's I totally get that, and it's a very real possibility. I mean, we can run multiple simulations on the computers that we have now.
Yeah.
And one player's playing one game while another simulation is going on.
Speaking of which,
I mean, to look at Skyrim. Isn't
right.
Skyrim a multiplayer game at a certain level, and then at a certain level it's a single player game?
Yeah, no, it's not a multiplayer game, but I know that there's
so in Skyrim you can't interact with any other
you
real
can't
players.
interact with any other real players in
Okay.
Skyrim. I think there's an online version though. Well, there's an online version of The Sims where you can interact with other people, but you can also choose to interact with just yourself.
I guess in World of Warcraft there's a set. I've never played World of Warcraft.
Neither have
Brent
I.
would be the guy to ask on this. But there's a set level that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
So you go on quests, but at the same time, it's a multiplayer world.
Mm-hmm.
So you can choose to go on your own quest, which then becomes your own reality.
Right.
Where you're still inside of the game, but you're interacting mostly with NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go into the collective.
Multiplayer collective.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think
So it's
that,
a possibility reality works like that too.
video games, speaking of video games, didn't that Mortal Kombat game just come out a few weeks ago? And
Mortal Kombat 11. I just
Yeah.
watched all the cutscenes.
yeah,
I don't play the games, but I watch the storylines. And
it's interesting.
it's about the goddess of time.
Uh-huh.
And she decides that she needs to reset the goddamn matrix.
Uh-huh.
And she winds back time.
This is sounding more and more familiar. Eerily so.
Oh, man. And she's like, I don't like the timeline. I don't like what's happened. So I'm going to reset the goddamn game. And I'm like, oh, well, we already beat you to it, man. Sorry.
Okay, yes. Ghost in the Machine said Skyrim is offline with elaborate NPCs, and there is an online Elder Scrolls with the Skyrim realm.
Ah.
So,
okay.
yeah. I've never played any multiplayer RPGs. I've never played any of those. I like to stick to the single player RPGs.
I don't have time for video games. I like to watch video games. I don't like to watch the gameplay, but the storylines for sure. So late at night, I'll flip on like Mortal Kombat, for example. And I'd love to get a system and play it. The problem is sitting down and actually playing it. Like I know if I'm going to watch the storyline, then I'm going to watch 2.5 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is, and I can always come back to it and all this. Yeah, I don't have time to sit down and play video games.
Yeah, I really don't either, but I think it's interesting. Some of these games' storylines are really interesting, and some of them are really just stress relieving. You need to blow off steam, play a video game.
Yeah, I wrote another post on Facebook. Just read an article about famous people's last words. I've always told Cherie that I'm going to try my best to say, my God, it's full of stars right before I die. Just to kind of troll everyone who reads it later and go, what does he mean about that? Oh my God, it's full of stars. What does that mean? First, it was so long and thanks for all the fish. Apparently, one of our other listeners thought of that too.
Yeah.
It was like, so long and thanks for all the fish. I was like, yes. Yeah. And I said, but probably now it'll probably be more like, no, I don't want to play the goddamn game again.
Yep. No.
So, no, I think my last words will probably be open the goddamn pod bay door, Sophia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyways, so we got this really interesting experience here that I want to read for you. I'm looking for it here. Can you, here it is. Okay. So, this person writes, you may not know this, but I actually had a near-death experience. Life flashing before your eyes. Head to the light. All crap. When you die, it's like someone turned off one of those old TVs. Then everything goes dark. Then you feel this familiar rocking, as if you were held by your mother again, as the baby's rocking, as a baby rocking in her arms. You wake up to the restfulness, like you have been asleep for days. When you come to realize the rocking you felt was actually a boat, similar to Greek mythology, except you aren't crossing the river Styx, but actually traveling the length of the river. All the while in the skies are playing your life's greatest memories, but surrounded by blackness. At the end of the boat, steering is the boatman, pitch black with orange glowing eyes and the sight of death around him, like the Grim Reaper. You go to speak to him, but you have no voice. He looks at you and he points to the front of the with his long bony finger, and you hear him say to you, "Watch forward." But he spoke with no voice. This is the moment you realize voice does not exist. Your mind speaks all. Off in the distance is a gate, almost heavenly, glowing in the darkness. As you bear closer and closer, you see a figure next to it into focus. Is it St. Peter? Is it Jesus? Is it Horus? You realize every religion had it right, regardless of what name you gave it. He is the gatekeeper. Upon arrival at the shores, he says to you, "Prepare for your life to be judged, for no man is free of sin, but your selfless deeds must outweigh them." The boat comes to a stop. At that point, you start to question your life. Have you been good? Have you been kind? Have you been courteous to everyone? You start to think about the times you were rude, disrespectful, etc. Has your life been lived in true selflessness? You know that you're being watched and judged, so you turn to thank the boatman. "Thank you, boatman. Is there anything I can repay you for this most courteous ride?" The boatman looks at you with his orange glowing eyes, dark silhouette, death surrounding him, and he leans over and he says a few simple words. "I need about tree fitting." Well, it was about that time.
Oh my God.
I read that and I was like,
Guys.
holy shit, this is deep. And then I get to the end and I'm like, God damn it. He got me.
You guys.
This has been an ongoing thing with me and this
Oh my
guy
God.
forever. Well, we'll fuck with each other like this, and at the end of it, when we get each other all hyped up, we go, and then it needs about tree fitting.
I mean, about tree fit.
That was really good, though, man. That me.
One was good. That one was good.
Yeah.
People are laughing in the chat.
Yeah.
Those that got it, got it.
I need about tree fitting.
I need about tree fit.
God damn it.
That was pretty good. So,
yep, somebody said, got him.
Got him.
Fellow traveler, the cries of the mistress speak again. Bidding organic consciousness a welcome to the House of Light. The great institution of materialism has failed. The false civilization built by man has turned, like a monster destroying its creator. Science battles itself impotently against the barriers of the unknown. Only your consciousness knows the true path. You, the illuminated, can carry the understanding upwards towards the light. Only your consciousness can teach the children of men to live well, to die well, and in perfect measure, be born again, through the knowledge of virtue, compassion, love, and true understanding, as you are sublimely raised, beyond the veil.
All right, 612-398-0600 is the call-in number. We will fire up the call-in lines here for the duration and take some calls from everybody. So I actually need to log on to the call board. But what's on your mind, Mrs. Gio?
Yeah, that was a great interview with David J. Brown.
Yes.
And we're going to have him back on here pretty soon.
Yeah, I love David. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
And his information on lucid dreaming and whatnot is phenomenal.
Yeah.
David is really in tune with with a lot of what's going on in the psychedelic realms,
Yeah,
which we
definitely.
need to get back into.
Yes.
We can go to the phone lines, though. We have Austin, Texas, that is holding. Let's go to Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas, what's your name and what's on your mind?
Hey, this is Connor Man 3000. Can you hear me?
Econo Man, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, good.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I've been I tried to document a few dreams in the last couple months, and it's always on and off. Like I'll be like on a roll for a couple days because I have dreams, and then it just goes away, and then I would have dreams like a couple weeks later, and I would forget to document them. But yeah, now that I was reminded to do so from what was the guest name? David
J. Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. So what I did was I just now pulled up my old email because I emailed a friend of mine about a dream that I had. It was pretty weird from March 31st, and I'm just putting it into my Google Docs so I can have like it all mapped out here. But usually it's just random stuff. It seems like, and this one, it was super weird. Like, can I talk about this one dream that I had 2 months ago or 1 month ago?
Please do. Take us away.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so it was so weird. I was in this house with this person, and I wanted to go upstairs. And long story short, there was an elevator, but instead of going through the house, I decided to go outside around the street block into the elevator. And once we got into the elevator, it started loading onto the walls all this decorative items, and just like it looked like a Saved by the Bell set. And once it finally started up, it just took us on this roller coaster ride with dolphins in the air and just incredible scenery. And finally, we got to the second floor, and people were waiting as we got out of the elevator. I was like, "Hey guys, don't use the elevator. It's kind of weird." But unfortunately, throughout all of that, I didn't realize that I was dreaming. And the only time that I ask myself if I'm dreaming is before I use the bathroom. So I guess I need to be doing that more often.
Whoa. Okay, so wait, so hold on. Are you Can you repeat that? Because I don't think I caught that.
No, yeah, so the dream was so intense. So the elevator that was just supposed to go up one floor actually took us around the block, and it turned out to be a big retail shopping center. But around the block is in a roller coaster, like you're at Disneyland. And there were dolphins flying in the air, things like just everywhere. And finally got back to the stop of the elevator to the second floor, and I was like, oh my goodness, that was insane. But I didn't know I was dreaming. I just took it as granted. And yeah, and so what I was saying is that I guess the only time that I ask myself if I am dreaming, and I'm serious, like I really ask myself, am I dreaming right now, before I use the bathroom.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I heard something else. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to get my mind back focused into the broadcast here. So what do you think that meant?
You know, I'm reading it, and I was trying to figure it out, but every time that I can remember my dreams, they just seem like old memories. And so the person I was with in the dream was my ex-girlfriend in college, who it was pretty serious in college, but it just fell apart terribly because I was immature, and I just was an idiot, and I couldn't really see it. And so a couple months before this dream, I just felt really, really bad still about it. And I just had to sit on my couch really late at night and just like kind of let the emotion pass through me of just feeling so sorry that it went so bad. But I didn't try to contact her. I don't try to do anything. I just let it go. And then a couple months later, that dream happened, and yeah, so I don't know. It's just I guess residual stuff because I'm in this Neville Goddard group, that manifestation school of like that type of manifestation philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to do with a lot of like take your feelings and visualizations into your dreams because that's like your subconscious. And so I was like, well, maybe it has something to do with manifesting, but I have no idea. And I would love to find people that can really look into it because I was really hoping for.
You know what I'm getting? You know what I'm getting from all of this? I'm wondering if that dream was kind of symbolic of you need to go out and have some fun. You need to go out and do something, ride a roller coaster. It was showing you all these different things to say, hey, you need to spend some time enjoying your life. I don't know what you do every day, and I don't know how you spend your life, but are you taking time away to do stuff like that? I find myself doing that all the time, like just working, and then I don't breathe and I don't have fun.
Right.
Yeah, I actually have zero fun now for the last like 4 months. Since like the beginning of the year, kind of December, it's really been kind of downhill. But in the midst of all of this, I've been really thinking like, what are my strengths? What do I enjoy? Because I was doing mortgage and real estate for the longest time, and like I was just doing it for the commissions, and I've been in sales positions for such a long time. It kind of just was a no-brainer to me. But as I grew in consciousness and I started to realize like and be observant of my thoughts and what's really going on, more so than before, I'm like, you know what? I really need to get aligned with what I really believe in, which is obviously money, but the whole process of this freaking, whether you're getting a mortgage or selling or buying a house, it's like, I can't take it anymore.
It's daunting. It's soul sucking.
It's not my thing.
My brother does real estate, and he wanted me to be a broker, not a broker. What is it? A loan broker or something like that. So he can get the sales, and then I can do the loans. And I'm like, I don't think I can sit down and do that. I mean, I did IT for a company for 3.5 years, about 4 years, and I couldn't do it. By the end of it, I just could not focus on it anymore because I'm like, this is so freaking daunting and it's meaningless. I mean, I was helping my friend grow his business and he's helped us grow ours and all that stuff. I learned a lot going through it, but it just got to a point where it was like, okay, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. So I totally get it. And you know what I was doing during that time? I wasn't taking a single freaking break. I was working 15, 16, 17 hours between that, TFR, BTV, and doing all of this. Never went on vacation, never left the house, never did anything at all, period. We were lucky enough to live on a lake. So every once in a while we would go out on the boat and come back. But that really wasn't, when the lake's in your backyard, that's not really getting out of the house. That's still staying in your backyard there. And it's cool for the first couple times you do it. And then after that, you're like, oh, it's the same old freaking lake, same old freaking mountain, same old freaking trees, same everything. And you know what's funny is it wasn't until that job ended that I finally said, okay, now I can go enjoy myself. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I had all the resources. I had more resources back then than I did at the time when I decided to go enjoy myself, but I wasn't enjoying myself because I was too busy gathering all those resources. We do this to ourselves more often than not.
Yeah, and I'm just starting to like find out what what I don't know. And now that I know kind of what I don't know, I'm trying to break through. And yeah, it's definitely, it's really eye-opening, especially with all this other stuff that I'm getting deprogrammed from. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense now because especially with the last 4 or 5 months, man, that's really helpful. I'm so glad that you saw that, Chris.
Awesome, man. It's just like David was saying. He was saying it's easier for other people to see the symbolism in dreams than it is for you. And it's because you can't see the forest from the trees. I get that all the time with my dreams. Go out and have some fun. Whatever it is that you need to do. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant or expensive or anything like that. But, take a little time to enjoy yourself.
Relax.
You know what I found a lot of joy in? And believe it or not, but I'm like addicted to going to the gym now. Like I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I show up and my personal trainer was there and she's like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I ate a bunch of crap last night. I feel like shit. I need to come over here and work it out. And so she's like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to give you a free freaking session right now. Let's go hardcore. And we went for like 2.5 hours. She showed me a bunch of new routines, like, you know, walking on the treadmill on an incline with a freaking sandbag on your back and all kinds of stuff. And she's like, I love your freaking dedication. And I'm like, you know, it's like a high. It's like I was on the ground. She had me on the freaking ground. I was like on my knees. Sweat was pouring out. And I was like, I've never felt freaking better in my life. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. And I'm like, do you feel like this after a race? And she's like, hell yeah, I do. She's like, that's why I do it. And I'm like, this is almost the best drug I've ever done. Almost. It's close. Wow. So I'm finding ways to enjoy myself and at the same time improve myself.
Right.
So I'm wondering if you can take a page out of that and find something like, okay, well, how can I improve myself, but at the same time, something that I love?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I was a super gym rat and couldn't get through a break time. Like, you know, I would go hard for like 3 weeks, take a week off, but I hated that 1 week off. And so now I haven't worked out in like freaking, I'll do one workout every 2 weeks just because like dude, it's just so hard now. So I think the whole thing is getting into alignment with balance, and then I'll really get back into like 100%. So man, that's really awesome. Thank you so much.
Dude, get back to the gym, man. I swear.
Yeah.
I think that might be the kicker right there. You know, go get that endorphin and the dopamine rushes and all of that. And you're also improving yourself at the same time. I wish I would have done this freaking 10 years ago, man. I'm like kicking myself looking back. But you know, I needed to wait for the stars to align. Like I couldn't do it while I was working for that corporation for 16 hours a day. There's no freaking way I could have done it. I couldn't have done it before because I was in the carpet cleaning business and I was already working my ass off. Then what was I going to do? Go to the gym then? The stars all aligned perfect for this moment in time right now. So maybe the stars are aligning for you as well.
Right on. All right, cool. Well, thanks so much. I'll be in the chat.
Love you, man. Take care.
All right. See ya.
All right. We've got a few more callers on the line. So, yeah, and I'm sorry if I'm boring anybody with all this gym talk. It's just, I found my second life.
Right.
I really did. It's like, when I came back from Egypt, I was winding down. I was depressed because I felt like there was nothing else to do. And then all of a sudden, boom, this next site jumps in. And then the message, get your body in order.
Right.
And then, I mean, I don't even know if my body needs to be in order for the second site. I think this has to do more with my mind than anything else. Because I can't go to that other side feeling like, okay, well, all the work's already done.
Right.
I'm re-energized.
Well,
I want other people to feel that energy too.
Exactly. And endurance is a big thing. I think at the last site, if it had been harder endurance-wise, then it would have been much more difficult. And I think this next site, it's not going to be physically any more difficult than the last site, but you're going to need to have a lot more endurance for the next site than you did at the last one.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it used to be you'd walk, you know, you'd walk through a big parking lot and you'd be winded by the time you were done. Now you can walk that distance
like today,
5 times.
Today we went to lunch. I purposefully parked 2 blocks away.
Exactly.
There was an open spot right by the restaurant.
And
I purposefully parked 2 blocks away so I can walk back and forth. And I dropped you off in the front.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't walk that far, you know, because I just had a minor surgical procedure on my foot yesterday. And so I can't walk that far. So he drops me off at the front and then he walked. And then he, you know, went and got the car when we were done and picked me back up. And that just goes to show, I mean, that's kind of indicative of, you know, how I'm playing into all this too, because I, for the last 10 years, I have kind of held you back by...
No, you haven't.
No, by giving you...
done nothing but elevate me because you're my twin.
Well, but giving you the impression, you know, just by my very existence and the way my body works, it gave you the impression that if you were to if you were to work out and do all of this, that somehow it would be leaving me behind, or somehow it would separate us in some way. That was wrong, because my body needs basically the opposite of what your body needs.
Yeah, and since you started taking care of your body, you look phenomenal.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm like, oh my God, where did this come from?
Right, and since you started taking care of your body, you feel phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you look phenomenal. I mean,
I'm getting there. I don't look the way that I feel.
But your energy...
I've never looked the way I felt.
But your energy is amazingly different.
Yeah, if you look at the shows from last summer, I was in a horrible place. You could tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Same here. And we were both trying to basically do the exact same thing and have our bodies just magically work out. And that wasn't working. We had to do the opposite for ourselves in order to become the best versions of ourselves. In order to come together,
what's funny?
Correctly.
I come back hurting, and the solution to the pain is to go work harder.
Right.
It's like I'm hurting sometimes, and then I wake up and I'm like, I don't think I can go, and I get there and I start doing the warm up, and then I'm just like fireballing through it.
Yeah, he is.
And then it's like all the pain is gone, and then I come back and I'm like, okay, it's starting to set on again. And so I'll go and I ran like half a mile the other day. I know it's not a long distance, but it's the first time I've ran a half a mile in 20 years.
Right.
And I was like, I told the trainer this, and she's like, hell yeah. She's like, you did this after we did our freaking 2.5 hour hardcore thing? And I'm like, yeah, I just felt like Forrest Gump.
Yep, exactly.
Just felt like running.
I just felt like running.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm about to hit that. It took me 6 minutes. It should be 6 minutes in a mile.
Right.
That's my goal for now. My next goal, my next milestone.
So right now you're at 12 minutes for a mile.
Yeah.
And
so it's so close. And I'm like, oh my God. Anyways, I don't want to keep going on about this, but I'm just,
it's fine.
I hope that I inspire people out there, because I want them to feel the way that I feel.
Well, I want to inspire people out there to do whatever it is that their body needs them to do. Whether that's being like me, where you must rest, you must take care of your body, you must address the issues that your body's giving you. And in your case, you must work out, you must get moving, you must be active. That whatever it is that your body needs in order to be its best version of itself, take care of your machine.
Can you, I hate to do this.
Oh,
can you stand up for a minute?
Okay.
Turn to the side. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's a well taken care of body.
Right. That's what happens when you take care of yourself.
If you look a year ago, right now.
From today.
When we were in Egypt, you were like 80 pounds.
Even the video from Saqqara, like when I'm smoking the doobie in the car, I look skinny. Yeah. I look sickly, and that was me trying to keep up with you. Whereas you were big trying to keep up with me.
Right.
And it just didn't work.
Yep.
The only way that we could become the best versions of ourselves was to, have separate ways of taking care of our bodies. And we've realized that there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
In fact, it's brought us closer together because now we're both feeling great.
Yep.
So we have a better time together when we are together.
And you know what's funny with me? It's inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this doesn't even matter.
Right.
It's like the fire's inside of me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You go harder than most people there.
Holy shit. How are you doing that? And I'm like, dude, it's all an illusion. Just boom. I really mean this. I mean, all you got to do is just do it. And then what happens is the muscle memory starts to kick in after you've done it so many times. And then you're like, oh, boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is all a simulation anyway.
It all changes, like balance starts to change.
Right.
The first thing she did was a balance test. I didn't realize how much off balance I was. And she's like, oh, you're way off balance. And then her number one thing that she says, push from the heels, push from the heels, push from the heels. Everything you do, push from the heels. That's where that's where you want to push the leg presses, the squats. Literally, if you push from the heels. She sees me pushing from the feet. She's like, no, push from the heels. You know what I noticed happened? since I started pushing from the heels, I'm walking on my heels now, which is something I've never done in my life.
Yep.
It changes everything.
Yeah, it does.
It's anyways.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm boring people, and I don't want to do that.
No, I don't think you're boring anybody. Everybody's.
I'm hyped.
Yeah, everybody's hyped for us. You know, everybody's excited because this is a breakthrough for a lot of people, realizing that, hey, maybe I should just give my body what it needs instead of what I think it needs.
That's what I've been telling people, and people get pissed off at me about the whole vegan thing. And it's like, not everybody can be freaking vegan. Not everybody can be a freaking carnivore. Not everybody can go to the gym and freaking go hardcore for freaking 5 days a week. You got to do what's right for your body. And we are perfect examples right here of how two bodies who are completely together need sometimes a complete opposite of one another.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah, that's been my whole gripe about this whole thing. It's like, stop pushing ideologies on people, and especially tying
like
into
veganism and
especially
stuff.
tying into spirituality. Don't sit here and tell somebody they can't be spiritual if they're not vegan.
Right.
If it's going to destroy them.
Right, exactly. It would literally kill me if I didn't eat meat and, things that come from animals. I do need those in order to have a healthy body. I need them in smaller amounts than you do, but I still need them. Whereas if you didn't eat meat at the amount that you do, you wouldn't have the energy to go to the gym and work out the way you do.
Right.
It's everybody's body is different. Everybody's body needs something different, and that's okay. But don't tell somebody, oh, well, you're not a spiritual person.
That shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there, including us, that went through that were like, you know what, maybe you have a point there. We're going to do this. And it was detrimental to both of us.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'll just say right now, my boobs and my butt were like non-existent a year ago. And now, like with iLife, proper pain control and lots of rest, and just listening to my body, I have like the perfect body now. I didn't even have to work out that much.
No, you do like 10 squats a day.
Yeah, I do 10 squats a day, and
it's just like,
I clean the house.
I'm so jealous of you for that.
Oh,
like you can eat whatever you want. You do 10 squats, and all of a sudden, boom, your butt it's like round, and I'm like, God.
Well,
my body just doesn't budge.
Yeah, but
it moves. It moves like it's freaking like I'm a freaking athlete.
Yeah, it does.
But I'm like looking at myself going, God damn it.
Yeah, you just have a lot slower of a metabolism than I do.
Yeah.
And so it'll come off. I promise you that. You just got to keep at it.
I climbed through the whole freaking pyramid. I climbed through the pyramid. I climbed through all that.
Yeah,
you don't understand the amount of trekking that went on, ladies and gentlemen. It was freaking hardcore. Not only in the pyramid, but you travel through all these different sites.
Oh yeah,
you're walking
you do
literally
a lot
everywhere. Probably walked, 500 miles.
Yeah, it felt like it. Yeah,
and I would walk 500 more.
But that was bad for my body, to walk around that much and to not be able to rest, and that was really bad for my body. And when we got done with Egypt, I was really beat.
Yeah.
But we got it done. We both survived, and now with the second site though, we're going to breeze through it, and we're going to be at the tip top shape for them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm going to run up to that top of the pyramid.
Yep. So,
all right.
You ready to take another call?
Yeah, let's go we have Matt in Trinidad. He's holding. We're going to take one call before we get to Matt. Then we have another call in Colorado. So we'll get to that too. But let's go to area code 203. 203, what's your name and what's on your mind?
Yo, Chris, Cherie, it is Zerolaf, Ghost in the Machine.
Yo, Ghost in the Machine,
Ghost.
man. How are you?
What's good? How are my favorite twin flames?
We're doing great.
Doing great, man. How are you?
Kick ass, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been waiting desperately for when you guys are doing your next live stream, because I wanted to talk about my ayahuasca experience and the video that I hope you caught the rest of it.
Yes, I watched a little bit of it. I didn't get to finish it though, but I'm glad that you called in because you get to tell us about it right here and right now.
All right.
Yes.
That's been cool. Yeah. So I think we're going on about Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks. I did a ayahuasca ceremony out in PA, and I did it as it was a Aries new moon on my birthday.
Oh, that is freaking awesome,
That
dude.
is awesome.
My favorite time to drink is on the new moon. I hate the full moon.
Yeah, we don't like the full
we've
moon.
drank on the
Super moon.
super blood moon.
That was awful.
Eclipse, and it was like freaking drinking in Walmart with the freaking neon with
fluorescent
the
lights.
fluorescent lighting. I was like, oh, this moon.
Yeah, it sucks.
With the new moon. Oh, I think
Yeah.
it's the clearest, man. So
Yeah.
tell us about the experience, please.
Woo, yeah. Well, it was something else. It was set up with a shaman. When I'm done with the phone call, I'll put a bunch of links in the YouTube chat of stuff because the shaman has a website. Her name is Samaya, and she's worked with a few elders. I don't remember off the top of my head that are mentioned in her bio. Of where she learned her craft from, and so we go through this stuff, and we did some breathing exercises. We talked about what intentions we were putting into it. It was me, one other guy, and her, who also took Aya along with us, and so we went through, stated our intentions. My intentions was to have Aya show me more of who I am, basically. First introductions, just like, I'm just here to get like the next level for me.
You asked a really big question, though, brother. Did you get a really big answer?
Well, yeah, I got an answer so big that it took me 16 hours to purge it out of my system.
Holy cow!
Holy crap!
Yes, a half-gallon bucket. I filled it.
Oh my God!
That makes sense.
16 hours of purging, the nausea. I definitely was in too much pain to have visions. It was total murder. But I can wait to do it again, but I want to do it again because I felt really good once it was over. But I'm trying to sit there, sit up. It's pitch black in this living room that was feng shuied before we went into ceremony, and went through and I just went through like an internal mantra while going through the nausea in my stomach, where I'm just like, okay, Aya, this is what I'm here for. This sucks, but I love you. I trust you. I respect you. If this is what I got to go through the whole night, then strap me in. I'm not getting off. And so that's what I went through. Afterwards, there was about 2 days of kind of resting up after that. We were supposed to do 2 nights in a row. The shaman, because of my experience, decided to cancel taking Aya the next night because of how deep I went.
I have to ask this though. I have to ask this. If I can jump in for a second, the shaman. I'd like to talk to her and ask her a couple of questions. And I don't know if you had a chance to ask these questions. But do you know how she made the brew? And did she use anything besides the traditional Bikapi and chacruna or even acacia or whatever? Because it sounds like there might have been something else in there, scopolamine or something like that, datura, which some people will put in their brews. I don't agree with it, but some people will do it to make the experience even harder, which it seems like you went through a really hard experience.
Yeah.
So do you know how it was made in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, it treated everybody differently. My experience was, from the same brew. My experience was the polar opposite. The other guy, he was, he got to connect with his coyote spirit and do all that. He got to do some fun stuff in animal spirit. So, that was from the same stuff. So, I'm going to send the link, and I will I will try and hook you two up and see if you two want to talk to each other about it, because I was actually telling her a few times about both Frank Castle and you, saying like these are guys that are all about the ayahuasca. You should listen to what they do and what they talk about with ayahuasca. So I never asked her. My mind has a tendency to go nuts with everything because it's a big sponge on information, and so I will end up overwhelming myself, and I'll shut myself down if I overcomplicate it, because I wait forever on the riskier things, because I don't want to be super reckless. Why? Because I'm an Aries, and I'm gonna bust in like a bull in the china shop, one way or the other.
So let me ask you this: was that here in the United States?
Say again?
Was the ceremony here in the United States, or was it in the Amazon?
Yes. It was in Pennsylvania.
It was in Pennsylvania. Okay, so it's not very likely that they would put something like scopolamine in there. It's more of a South American thing, and it's much more difficult to get here in the United States. So it may not have been that, but I'm still wondering what was in that brew. If it was just the typical MAOI with the GMT containing plant, then holy cow, you had a lot of stuff to purge. But it sounds like you got a lot of work done in one boom, flat out shot to clear the slate for your next experience to be the experience that you really need. I mean, you needed this one, but let me put it like this: the experience that you expected.
Yeah. There was some mother spirit karma that has been at the core of some of my things going on in my unconscious, I guess, and this is what it needed to be about, because like after the second purge of the evening, the shaman said, what you hacked up right there. There's something that you were removing. Like there's something going on about that what you're spitting out. What is it? And so I meditated on it for a moment, because it's those brief moments. There's like about a minute after the purge where my head is super clear before the nausea comes back in for the next wave. So I was thinking as hard as I could before the nausea came back in and distracted me. And I said something about my mother. And that's the only thing I was able to to get out of it. And it went even a little later. I was trying to do work where I came over to sit down in front of the shaman to do, and she was going to do some energy work with me, and talk about that mother issue. But between the nausea and the fact that there was a little bit of makeshift seating that needed to happen in the ceremony space, and I wasn't able to have comfortable back posture, which was like screwing up my comfort, my energy, my ability to keep the nausea down, because I couldn't keep my back straight, that we couldn't get very far in the middle of that. But she did notice that I had a lot of energy blockages in my right arm, and I'm a lefty. I'm a hardcore lefty. I'm a hardcore right-minded person. And there's an energetic detriment that I guess is way more noticeable. So on top of mother issues, stuff going on with the right side of my body's energy system is something that needs work too. I've noticed it very evidently through my Qigong practices. One of the postures that I hold has to hold my arms up for a very long period of time. The right arm will completely like fall, like it'll linger down at an angle because the muscle it's getting really sore. And then my left arm, it's just sitting there, and it's like, this plane can fly forever if only it had two wings.
Wow, that sounds like an incredible experience, man. I mean, You know, it's funny because I'm hearing more and more of these experiences where people are getting a ton of work done in one go. And it sounds like, you know, you got a ton of work done. So I know you need time to process all of this, but my question is, do you have any plans to go back in? And if so, when do you think that'll be?
Yeah, I want to go back in. Sometime the next, if I can catch a new moon during like the equinox period, during or close to Halloween or something like that. I need to find a shaman that is in the right location, which may mean local again, which is fine by me, who can perform that. So I'll be on the lookout. I'll be on the lookout for such a person. But yeah, I want to do it in Scorpio if I can, because I did an Aries new moon. I'm an Aries, but my ascendant is Scorpio. So I thought that made sense.
You know, just consider this. Consider making it yourself. And that way you put your own intention into it. You put your intention into it as you're brewing it as well. You know what's in it. You know what intention has been put into it. And also this too, if you work with a shaman, and this is something that I should start saying pretty regularly, even if you work with a shaman, bless whatever you're drinking first with your own intention. And that way it becomes your energy instead of the shaman's energy. Because you don't know what kind of energy the shaman has put in there or what kind of intention or anything like that. And I always say, you know what, one-on-one with the plants is always the best way. Unless you have somebody just there just to kind of prepare it and then give it to you and then kind of back off from the experience. That's something completely different. But I don't know, just a couple of ideas to kick around. Did we lose you? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, your voice is out, but yeah, we're good.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, that's a pretty awesome experience. If you can do me a favor, if you can repost that in the, I know you're in the esoteric group. If you can repost that there, I would love to watch that video again. And I think I've got the private message here somewhere. You know, I get so bombarded with private messages that I forget about this kind of thing. So I apologize. I also forgot about Matt Simon too, who has been wanting to come on the show, and I've been promising to book him, and I have dropped the ball on everything lately. So my apologies to everybody out there.
No, it's all right. Yeah, like in the video, there's actually some really good relevant visuals that is worth it. Because there's like a sketch drawing that I drew, which I think I left it at the guy's house in PA, and he can't find it. So it's a good thing I took a damn picture of it because I really liked the picture, and it was a picture of not what I saw, but what the energy felt like during the experience, and it's and I explained it pretty thoroughly. But the centerpiece of the picture is there's a orange vortex in the lower third, and there's a green tri-wave in the upper third, and that is basically expressing what was going on around my third eye and what was going on around my navel center. And then the rest is just expression of of everything around it, what that felt like. It wasn't a vision, but that's just something that just came naturally off the paper at the time that the shaman asked us to draw something that inspires you from your journey that night.
Awesome.
So there's that. There was an oracle card that I took a picture of, and so that's up there, and I talk a little bit about how I interpreted that card that was shown to me, and then there was a stone drawing from a pile of stones, and I show off these two stones that I picked, and when I picked them, I closed my eyes to pick them. And so I just kind of read the energy with my right hand, because as a lefty, the right hand is my receiving energy hand.
Oh, I never thought about it like that. Really insightful.
For me, with the exception of the qigong exercises that I do, like everything is flipped. You know, because like I was born in fantasy land. I completely like rejected like things that weren't like fun of the imagination. I got locked into the Saturday morning cartoon and video games kind of thing, and the 90s were not healthy for my adult maturing, if you will.
After these messages, we'll be right back. You remember that?
Oh,
there's a guy on YouTube called Nostalgia Critic. I don't know if you've ever watched him, but he reviews all these. Yeah, he did he did Nostalgia Critic 80s commercials, and he does this whole review of all these 80s commercials.
Yep.
It brings back a lot. So cool. Hey, tell people real quick your YouTube channel and your radio show.
Yeah. My YouTube channel, you got to go to youtube.com/Steve Travesty. If you look back, if you're in the chat room on YouTube right now, you can just click on Ghosts in the Machine. That's the name of the channel. And you can subscribe there. I'm up to 203 right now. I need 800 more to go so I can mobile live stream again.
Oh, nice. Let's get that going, ladies and gentlemen. So head over there, subscribe to the channel for sure. Ghost has been with us for a long time. He's one of the inner circle people here at BTV, and we want to support everybody out there. So yeah, for sure. And then you do a radio show too.
Yes. My radio show. My radio show is called Ghost in the Machine. It's on Revolution.radio. Not on TFR. Although I love TFR too. I kind of see it almost as a cousin network. Anyway, I'm on Monday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight, Studio B, and you want to tune in this Monday. Many people know it already, but I've got Jordan Maxwell on for at least an hour. I'm hoping to, and I'm going to ask Jordan as many questions as I can. And the big ones that I really want to hit is I want him to comment on Notre Dame, and I also want to see what he thinks about the theory on the mud flood and the Tartarian Empire, and what his take is on that, because I very much love the mud flood research, and because history is one of the things I'm really into.
Awesome.
So there's that going.
Awesome, man.
That's
We'll
great.
be tuning into that for sure. Here's the thing about Jordan. We've had him on a few times. He gets in this cycle where he'll start just saying the same thing about every other interview. If you can break him out of that cycle, he is a wealth of information.
Yeah.
But you have to be like really proactive when you're interviewing him to get him off that, the Vatican and Admiralty law and all that stuff, and get him focused. So I think you can do it, man. You've got the energy, and I think you can do it.
This is my third interview with him. If you go to Ghost in the Machine, I have two other interviews with him. Just search in the Ghost in the Machine playlist on my channel, or just search for Jordan Maxwell in my channel. You'll see two of them pop up. The newer one doesn't have as many views, even though it's really good and it's only about an hour. So please check those. Check those out. Also, do I have enough time to share one thing about the dream conversation that the dude before me called in about?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because he was talking about the dream in the elevator, and so that reminded me of my friend Stephen Murrow, who he does. I produced his show. It's a show that came back after being off the air for a while. That's on before me. He's a medical intuitive and psychic healer, and he does a call-in show, and then he can read your energy just through being able to talk to him or ask him a question. You could even text him, and it works. And he can just pick up on it, and he'll tell you how to focus in on what he's seeing. He kind of helps you feel it out for yourself. The way we get along, he's really good. He has a history with Daryl Anka. You were talking about Bashar, but he taught me a meditation, and he talks about it on the air, which is called the Crystal Elevator. And this meditation is you get your mind into a meditative state, use your imagination, and you create a sacred space for a pure, clear quartz crystal elevator. This elevator doesn't go up and down. This elevator goes to frequencies in time and space. When you step into the elevator, you search deep down inside for that frequency, that feeling of the thing you want to get the answers to, right? You want to probe a past life. You want to probe like you're remote viewing something, right? You use the crystal elevator as your mind's portal, as its gateway to literally anything, and you'll get it. You'll get it'll come to mind, just like using your imagination. But you've got so much intention focused on the vibratory frequency of the truth of the matter that you will see exactly what it is, what you need to know. And I've meditated on a couple of my dreams this way and picked up on further messages that were locked in as I was able to fill in the blanks by getting into the flow of almost like you're tapping into the Akashic record. This crystal elevator is a really awesome universal.
So let me ask you this. So this came from Bashar?
No, this came from Stephen Murrow.
Oh, okay. Because this is resonating. This is resonating big time. What you're saying, and I was going to say, if this came from Bashar,
yeah.
I gotta reevaluate this guy because my opinion of him was first like, oh, hold on. But no, what you're saying is resonating big time.
Well, let me tell you, like Stephen Murrow has connection to Bashar, but he hasn't had connection to Daryl Anka in a long time. Like Stephen Murrow, like he can just in real time, he'll end up like I'll be talking to him about something, and then he'll be like, "Oh, I'm getting a message from Bashar over here," and it'll be just this real simple, like wisdom about it, or a validation of something, right? But it's got nothing to do with Daryl Anka, and it's nothing that he brands. It's just his testimony. He's doing his own thing, and he uses his medical intuitive services to help people, and I think he's trying to make business out of it, but he's still kind of like growing it, and that's not something that we that I've even talked about with him. But like I have a similar connection with Bashar because one of the dreams that I've interpreted, which I made a video of on my YouTube channel, was a dream that I had where Bashar showed up in it. And this was before I met Stephen Murrow, or was it? I don't even remember. It was a long time ago. But Bashar had something to do with that. And one of the things with all channelers is that the channeler themselves is only human, and they can falter and make mistakes along the way. And that manifests in channeling because sometimes the ego of the channel can get in the way, which is why sometimes there's less resonance with something that's put out from the official Bashar material from Daryl Anka versus stuff that has high resonance. And I've always, most of the stuff that I've been exposed to was extraordinarily high resonance stuff. And I've had the privilege of hearing a few more privately circulated, just like friends would just show me a couple of things that came from private sessions that were made a long time ago. And those are like, wow. The first time I ever heard the term imagination was from one of those videos. And I thought it was, and they're there just in a living room. It's just Bashar in a living room with maybe about 12 young people. And when Bashar answered the guy's question with imagination, the whole room just fucking exploded, like, ah! And everybody cheered because it was just like, oh, yes, you finally realize you're all wizards. Congratulations.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. I'm going to go ahead and let you go because we still have several other callers and I'm starting to fade a little bit. But, brother, thank you so much for sharing your experience. And I will definitely check out that video for sure.
Absolutely. So be on the lookout for the links in YouTube and on the Esoteric Knowledge page if you're in it.
Awesome, man. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. We have Matt in Trinidad coming up here in a moment. We've got Colorado and we've got Kent, Ohio. And then after that, I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to take a quick break, though, and I will be right back in just a moment. All right, we're just going to jump right back into it, this time with kitties. Now it can be like, who's that guy from Inspector Gadget? Dr. Doom or something like that?
Yeah, Dr. Doom.
It's like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, she's so cute.
Uh-huh.
How's Bastet doing?
She's good.
I think it's their first night.
Yeah.
So they're like going, hey, what's going on? Segment is much cooler.
I'm not sure if they even realize what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Segment's like, hey, I want to get on the microphone. What's going on up here? Oh, she's giving me kisses now.
This one's sticking her butt.
Basset's scared for some reason.
Yeah.
So, oh man, I guess that's the end of me wearing black.
Oh.
Already got kitty hair in my mouth.
It's okay.
All right, so let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go to Trinidad. Matt in Trinidad. Matt, how are you doing, brother?
Hi, Chris. Hi, Sherry.
Hey, my sincere, deepest apologies for not. I mean, I think we're going on like 6 weeks now, so I just wanted to acknowledge that and apologize. I'm going to make sure we get you scheduled here for a full show. Sherry, I'm going to put this on you if that's okay.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to send you Matt's email because I've dropped the ball on this time and time again. And we haven't done any shows in a couple weeks, too, so that was another factor. But how are you doing, brother? What's on your mind tonight?
I'm great. My wife is in the room.
Yeah. Oh, excellent.
Beverly? Yeah.
So I will let you take it away because I know she's had some deep, deep, deep experiences.
Yeah. Now she is just in the chat room, but she's in Guyana at the moment by
Okay.
the family. Yeah. Okay, so Sherry, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm being quite busy. I'm been trying to do some research because what should I say? My intuition is leading me into trying to find the lineage of Isis and Thoth, and
Mm-hmm.
also the lineage and the followers of, oh my God, I didn't keep it my notes, so I'm a bit tired also.
Anubis?
Yeah, not Anubis, um, Set.
Set.
Because
Okay.
the last show that you all had, you were talking about how Seth manipulates some of the things and so on,
Mm-hmm.
and how he may have locked us in here. Now, I went and did some in-depth research because that had been on my mind for quite a while, and I also agreed upon that the NPCs that is around us now could actually be a conscious being in a different reality. Because when we go into the realms, we realize that there are multiple realities where you see different versions of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it also resonates with me where the concept of one of us may be conscious here, because the NPC bodies, remember, the body are
Mm-hmm.
NPC. It's not us. We are just in a shell,
Right.
moving about, controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
But in that reality, our body may be a shell, and someone else who's a shell is not a shell. It has a possibility. It sort of resonates with me. So I kind of did research along that line, trying to find where this bloodline goes. Now, this lead all the way to the Jews and the Israelites and the secret of that particular god that is behind the veil in the temple that only one priest can go into,
Mm-hmm.
and the slaying of the lamb. And I'm questioning, who is the God? Why would the God of the universe, who created the entire universe, who don't have form, body, is a void and yet filled every single thing in life, come down on earth in a body behind a veil in a realm like this to speak to men and give them basic rules and laws of living? It's just not making sense. So my question is, who exactly was it behind the veil? Who was given these Hebrews and so on, their commands and their rules and regulations and what to do
Can I give you
and
my
who to war with?
Can I give you my opinion? I don't think there was
Yeah,
anybody.
go ahead, Chris.
I don't think there was anybody or anything behind the veil. I think that they were
Yeah.
just making it up, going back in, coming back out, and then making up whatever they wanted to put out there.
Yeah.
Intuitively, that's what I'm picking up. But what are your thoughts on it?
All right. My thoughts on it could have been, because it could have been one of, okay, let's go a little dated back, where it had the days when, with Moses and so on, where it was being spoken to by this being, this God, and setting out laws and rules and all these things. Now, remember, I'm keeping in mind that we are not in our base reality. We are in what we understand at this point in time as a matrix, which is the closest understanding to what exactly we are in right now. And there are commands, there are things that can be sent to us from outside to inside. In other words, they could have made connection to some of the beings inside and give direct instructions. Now the question is, who is the one giving the instructions? What do you think about that? Because remember, they also say that priests died, like get slaughtered if they don't do certain things before they go behind the veil.
That's a good point. There's other lines of thinking that say, maybe it was some kind of technology that they were communicating with something else. Another line of thinking is that it could have been a character kind of like Set or somebody like that. It's difficult to say for sure.
Okay, so what I'm resonating with is I'm believing that it somehow Set has something to do behind this, and he's not alone. meaning that there are others who agreed upon his, who sided with him concerning these things. Now, I also got into the history and I've been looking at certain things like ancient Egypt. Now, there's limited information due to when the invasion of Rome. The last piece of information I got was on Cleopatra, and I was trying to get some research on her, and most of her statues, it's almost like someone tried to erase her from the Egyptian history. It's all of her statues, the noses are broken off on the temple walls. They literally try and carve out most of the images of her. She's not in one of the main temples that all the other kings of Egypt are recorded in, or queens of Egypt are recorded in. She's not there. I'm not sure if the pillar was removed or she died before she actually got a chance to put that there.
Wait, I'm
But
sorry.
Are you
there's a
talking
lot
about
of,
Cleopatra or Hatshepsut?
No,
Cleopatra. Cleopatra wasn't really Egyptian.
And well, and not only that, she wasn't really erased as much as Hatshepsut was.
Yeah, Hatshepsut was erased for sure.
Yeah. Now, I haven't even got into Hatshepsut yet. Now, all of these things, I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, is there some sort of behind the scenes war behind conscious beings like ourselves? Every time we try to make a positive mark on history, somehow there seems to be some sort of cover up for that. Like, she tried to make a great mark. She even identified herself with ISIS, saying that she claims that she was supposed to be a direct descendant or a reincarnation of ISIS, which is a bit bold, yes, but
yeah,
for some reason, someone went all out, or a group of people went all out to erase that off. What do you think about that, Chris?
Well, we went to a couple of her temples, and come to find out, she actually built the temple of Isis. She built it for one of her brothers or nephews or something, like, or lovers, or I don't remember why she built it. And then
if
she
built
built
her lover, it would have been the Caesar at that time.
for Caesar.
Really
Yeah,
they went together. Yeah,
and she built Dendera, of course. And so,
yes, correct.
I'm just thinking back to Dendera, and I didn't see her face carved out as much, but I do know that there was the face and the nose broken off at the temple of Isis everywhere. And I know what happened is that the Christians took over it, and the Christians were trying to erase her. And actually, they set up an altar there where they were doing like communion and stuff like that. And that's one of the altars that we cleansed when we were over there. And when we poured the water from the Nile, smoke started coming out of the altar. We have this all on video. It was the craziest freaking thing that we've ever seen.
Yeah,
I mean, it was almost like it was burning all of that nastiness off of the altar. But it was kind of a change. They took the temple over and started using it for Christian rituals.
Yeah.
So it was the Christians who started marking out the face. So I'm wondering if maybe, like, when you're referring to marking out the face, are you referring to Isis's face or Cleopatra's face?
Okay, now it's multiple faces, because even dating further back before the Christians invade, there are records from archaeologists who they didn't want to come out right because it had a lot of opposition around that piece of information, that the Romans, after the death of the particular Caesar at that time, they weren't in agreement with that. Before they took over Egypt, they weren't in agreement with the partnership when she was alive. And when they finally took over Egypt totally, they already started the work in changing and blocking off parts of the ancient gods and beliefs in Egypt. So that work started way before the Christians came along.
Interesting.
Yeah.
While I'm thinking about it, Cherie, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up the schedule?
Okay.
See when the next Thursday we have available, because I just want to go ahead and book Matt right now.
I believe we have next Thursday.
Do we have next Thursday available?
I'm trying to get
okay.
that.
Yeah.
So would you
Now,
be
this is off topic to what I was going to speak about. So I send you an email of the things that we wouldn't speak about, but this is off
no.
topic. This is just something that came up since you all had another show. I've been going in research and I'm getting led in that way. So I've gathering certain information because my goal, which is something that's driving me towards that path, is to try and split the lineage. Now, most of the information apparently based on bunks against a wall because most of this information is now locked away by the Vatican. And the clearance, you need to have a high level of clearance to even access some of those documents and books. And then what I also discovered is you have to have a certain amount of years of study, you have to get approvals, and even though you can't go into the inner chamber of the real juice, so I don't believe there's much ways for you to get access to these history in this realm.
Well, let's do this. Okay, so next Thursday, 8:00 Pacific time. Can you do that? Does that work for you?
Yeah, I'll make an appointment for that.
Okay.
Hold on one
Okay.
moment.
So that is
Thursday.
4 hours prior to now.
One moment. I'm just putting in the schedule, yeah. Yeah, other than that, as I said, I didn't call to go into anything like or for what I'm going to speak on the show. But I have something cool to tell you.
Okay, awesome. Let's do this then. Okay,
All right,
I'm glad that we were able to book this now because again, I apologize so much. It's just like I said, we haven't been doing shows and just things have just been kind of
crazy
freaking up.
around here.
We thought we were actually going to be out of town right now, but we changed our mind last minute to not go on that particular journey and instead get these little kitties that are here in our laps. But I want to do a little bit more research on what you're talking about so I can be a little more familiar with it.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to bring it up on that show, plus all of the notes that you sent in.
Yeah, true. Okay, so the topic on the show is about lucid dreaming. Now, I have had lucid dreaming, but for some reason, I always go into this realm. It's very similar to what I'm living in now, nothing too vary away. But I'm conscious that I'm in a dream, and I'm conscious that it's not my reality I'm in right now. So basically, I'm able to grab an energy within myself. I'm like tapped into a certain frequency, and I'm able to actually levitate. And I keep on going back into that realm ever so often when I do lucid dream. And each time I tried it, and eventually I learned to actually fly. Like, not too fast like Superman flying, but I can actually put my intention to actually move into the direction I want to go, and I can actually, it feels really good.
Wow. So you had
nothing too spiritual, but it's like grabbing, feeling the energy source around you, grabbing it and harnessing it to generate something in the coding that is not usually common among us.
You know, I've heard of flying in dreams before, and I've had a couple of dreams where I'm flying, but you know, the thing is, as soon as I start to realize, oh, I'm dreaming, boom, I wake up. How do you get past that?
That sucks. All right. Okay. So the time I enter into the dream, that state, I'm conscious. It's like I pick up. Okay. How to describe this? It's very tough to describe. Let's just say you feel like where you are. You have this sense of feeling that is not where you are now, like in the world where we are now, speaking to each other. You know instantly. Now, with that, you need to balance your consciousness in not being surprised by it, but at the same time, being aware of it. So you wouldn't be totally asleep in the dream state. So it's like a balance 50-50 between knowing and also accepting that you are there. That's the only way. If you get the balance off, you will jump out of it. And if you go the complete other direction, then you'll be in an unconscious state and not realizing that you're actually in a dream state.
I see. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to
it
try that. It's going to take some work.
It didn't happen the first time. Yes, it didn't happen the first time. It's like countless times over and over and over. I keep on going back in the same place, that same realm, and I'm seeing through. It's not like I'm seeing my body like from a third party view. I'm seeing through my own eyes and so on, like how I am now. So it's like really, really realistic experience. Everything is just the same as this. It's not like a building down the road is off. Like it's like a building from somewhere out of the town, replaced and put in the spot. Everything is literally the same. The same people I interact with, but just there's this energy, which I actually never got the time to actually try, seeing if I can meditate and harness that energy here. There's some cool stuff, but I really don't have the time to get into those things. Maybe in the future, when things get a little lighter, I can start going into those studies. But
okay,
for now, it's just leave it to lucid dream.
Well, let's do this. If you can do the whole 3 hours, we would love to have you on the whole 3 hours on the next show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sherry.
Awesome.
Hi, Sherry.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just on behalf of my wife, she experienced something really bizarre, and I told her this is crazy. I questioned her over and over and over. Now she went to the Guyana jungle to meet her parents, and when she went in a certain part of the jungle, now I also asked her to get some of the ayahuasca vine, the ingredients and so on one time while she's there in the jungle before she comes back. Now she went into the jungle and she just tapped into a certain frequency. Now I questioned her. I asked if you ever drink any brew, you drink anything that is of any psychedelic nature. She said no. All she drank was water alone. For some reason or the other, just at the state that you get when you are coming out from the experience, where all the plants and trees and so on start to talk to you and a set of eyes start to show up, she went into that state without even trying. And I'm like, how do you unlock these things? I have to meditate so hard, I'm still barely could reach that. And you're not even trying, and you just reach these states. And it's like by mistake you're reaching these states.
Wow. That's amazing. I'd love to talk to your wife as well. If you want to bring her on the show with you next time, because I'd love to hear the experience firsthand from her.
Yeah, because she sounds like almost like a medium. The kind of person that's able to just immediately tap into extra dimensional realities and at a whim. Whereas most people
at a whim.
Most people, myself included, have to use something or do something or invoke a practice of some sort in order to get to those states of consciousness. And so, we'd be really interested to talk to her as well.
And one warning to you guys: the trees and plants knows everything.
Yeah,
the trees and plants told her the entire history of the village, all who died when the war came in with the invasion of the Spaniards in the land, who was with who. It was crazy, the amount of information. When she went back to the parents and told them, it's like, how you know these things? Like, you don't live with us in the jungle. How do you know things that happened just recently and things all far back in history that is not known to most people? And she was like, I just know. And she kind of palmed it off like, grandma told me. But it was really the plants and trees and it was crazy.
I used to talk to trees whenever I was little, and I still do from time to time, but I have to be already in kind of a state of altered consciousness in order to really do it. But whenever I was little, I used to talk to trees for hours, and you're right. They have like a super consciousness where they know the history of any given place because their roots are much older than they are. Their roots are so embedded in the soil there that it knows the history of that soil going back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, love you guys.
We love you too, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
next
problem.
week, 8 o'clock Pacific.
8 o'clock.
Cool, brother. Thank you so much for the call.
Okay, y'all take care, Chris.
All right, take care.
Sherry, don't forget to check the email, okay?
Definitely. I will do that now, actually.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right.
Take care, y'all, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I've got kitty warfare on my shoulders.
Yeah, me too. They will not stay with me.
They're both here. They're chilling, but they're fighting with each other.
Oh, no.
I don't know if you can see them on the camera.
No, I can't see them. Oh, man.
There they are.
Oh, God. Well, it's a big enough shoulder, so that works. But,
all right. They're new babies. So,
yeah, they're new babies, so they don't know
they
any
were,
better.
They were scared in the bathroom by themselves. They were hiding.
They were hiding under the blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt bad.
Yeah,
me
too.
Out and play a little bit, and it's nighttime too. They're nocturnal.
Right. So they're supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna chase all the birds away, though.
I know.
Yep.
They were looking at him through the window earlier.
Already.
Yeah, and I was thinking, oh my God, it's like that. It's like the it's like that alien baby in Rick and Morty when he wants to go outside and play, and his version of playing is killing things, and he sees the dog. Remember, he sees the dog and the mailman, and he's like, "Daddy, can I go out and play?"
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of them looking at the birds.
You know what I think they like about this side? They like that.
Uh-huh.
They like that screen over there.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes sense.
They're watching that. I think that's why
they didn't want.
there.
Yeah, that's why they didn't want to be with me.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to a couple more calls. Let's go to Colorado, area code 719. What's your name and what's on your mind?
Hey, Chris. Hey, Sheree. It's Hoska.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Doing great. You know, I was listening to your other caller there, and I was listening about the flying, and I used to be able to do that a lot when I was a kid. I probably have done it close to 100 times, but I haven't gotten to that dream state lately in the past quite a few years. But it's pretty interesting. Once you get into that state, at least for me anyway, like he was saying, you can consciously, fly up, fly down, but it's funny when you start realizing that you're in a dream. Sometimes I'll start falling out of the sky and hit the ground, and I can't get back up and fly again.
That's interesting. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Do you think it's the conscious mind taking over and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be flying"?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not good at it or anything, but I've done it many, many times. It's crazy.
So, but how do you get? How do you get to that state? That's the question. How do you wake up in a dream?
There's nothing. I don't provoke it. I wake up. I'm there, and I realize. I don't know if I realize I'm dreaming, but I just kind of realize that. This is the state that I can fly in. Something like that. It's not real clear how I do it.
So
it seems easy sometimes.
What's the craziest lucid dream that you've had?
Probably flying with a bunch of friends from like grade school when and we're all where we can all control it, and kind of like you go into different states, the whole high school I went to, stuff like that. I guess it's where it's really vivid. I wouldn't say it's too crazy, but that's as far as it really goes. I go back into familiar places that I've been before as a kid, and it looks just like it did back then.
So have you ever tried to go in and get information from like the Akashic records or anything like that, or is it more kind of like exploratory and kind of fun?
Yes. Exploratory kind of fun stuff. But if I could do it now, like if I would, I've been wanting to do it since I started reading about people, astral projecting and stuff like that recently, the past few years. That's what I'm trying to do, is get back into that state. And trust me, that's what I'm going to try to do. It's funny you mentioned the Akashic records, because that'd be one place to be kind of nice to go to.
Oh yeah, and for sure. I mean, I think that's the target there, is to be able to get to that database or Akashic records or anything like that, whether it's psychedelics or lucid dreaming or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure. But no, I wanted to call about my ayahuasca experience.
Oh, yes, my favorite
First of
kind of
all,
call. Take us away, please.
You love these calls. Yeah. Well, first of all, I use mushrooms quite a bit. Probably 2-3 times a month on high doses, and high doses for me are probably anywhere between 4 and 9 or 10 grams, I guess. Usually, probably 6 would be my average. So I'm used to the psychedelic world. I've been doing mushrooms for a long time. I when I learned of you through Clyde Lewis's show, I guess fairly recently. And I wanted to tell you also that you said that you guys had to hold back kind of because of that show. But I mean, I came from that show, and you got another listener too that came from that show. So I don't know, man. I think that you can be open on shows like that. Maybe I misunderstood you, but
thank you.
But I thought you were saying you were holding back. Yeah.
I was holding back a little bit because we could just get into some deeper stuff, but I'm glad it was well received. I mean, I was looking at the plays on SoundCloud, and it was something like 45,000 or something like that, which Ron Patton was saying, hey, that's actually a really good turnout. So I think it went well. But it's just me personally. I found myself holding myself back a little bit. So, but thank you for the acknowledgement.
Yeah. Well, I think the show was about NPCs, and I had a hard time dealing with that at first, man. I went through some shit dealing with that, but after listening to you and starting to realize and starting to wake up to things and using mushrooms more as spiritual awakening rather than a party kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can start seeing understanding some of the things that you're saying and just can relate to some of that more. But anyway, so I downloaded your ayahuasca guide, and I've been using that
awesome.
4 times now. Now the first 3 times it didn't work. However, it's funny you brought up the Akashic records because it was the second or third time it had kicked in, and I felt that that warm cocoon, loving welcome to the Aya world, and kind of like just a warm welcoming into it. But the hallucinations were very, very minimal, very weak, and then it went away. Now I had a problem with holding the Aya down. I 10 minutes, man, 15 tops, and I'm puking. But now this last time, which this was last Saturday night, I drank, and it was a good dose. It was a strong mouthful, and I made it 100 grams plus a handful was what I did. And
100 grams. 100 grams, and you drank it all.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, that's hardcore.
No, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. No. I used how I mixed it was 100 grams and then a handful, but then I chugged about 4 ounces of it. So it was somewhat of a strong dose.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was trying to make sure that it would work, but it wasn't the whole thing. It wasn't. I didn't down the whole 100 grams.
Okay.
Anyway, but
it would have been cooler
anyway,
if you did.
It would have been cooler if you did. Actually, in this particular case, I don't know. That's why I wanted to call, because I wanted to ask you about this. But so I sit up about an hour later, and first thing I say is uh-oh, and I ran to the bathroom and I threw up. And then I remember last time this happened, that's when the Akashic Records thing I tapped into was kind of would happen. So, but nothing happened after I threw up. So I went back down, I sat down on the couch, and then all of a sudden I had my eyes closed, and all of a sudden I opened my eyes, and I seen, everything kind of looked like when you smoke DMT. I was like, oh, this is familiar. So something's happening here. And the music started getting too much, and I never, ever do I turn the music off, and I had to turn the music off. And I started listening. I hear all this, like, weird language and all of these, just the visuals were just kicking my ass. And so I'm paying attention, and then I don't remember much, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there on the couch, and I don't know who the hell I am.
Awesome.
That is
I've
awesome.
had the
complete
I've
ego
had
death.
the ego loss before, death before, but that was, more of like a fractal type world. It wasn't while in body, And so I'm sitting there with my friend Lindsay, and I wanted to ask her, like, who am I? But I never got to that point. of asking her that because it sounded stupid. But anyway, so I got sick again, and I ended up getting sick 3 times that night. And I was in the bathroom, and I'm going through these thought loops, not knowing who the hell I'm at, who the hell I am. It was a little bit frightening for a little while. But one of the thought loops I was having, I don't remember all of them. There was like 4 or 5 of them, but the one that I do remember was that I thought I was computer programmed.
Oh,
I don't.
You thought you were a computer program?
Yeah, it was really weird.
That's interesting.
I thought I was a computer. Yeah, I thought I was a computer program that became sentient or something like that. And I didn't know why I was throwing up. All I knew was that I did this to myself, and there was a reason. And I wasn't expecting that kind of trip. I was expecting something, like more along the lines of what's going on in this time of my life. Why do I have some bad negative energies? I keep having these bad things just happen to me at work, and things like that. And I'm asking, Mother Aya why, trying to ask her what that is and see if I can get some answers out of it. But instead, what I got was that complete ego loss where I didn't even know, I was at my friend Lindsay's house. I didn't even know where I was. And so I was kind of hoping maybe you had some insight on that.
It sounds to me like you got exactly what you asked for, which was you asked, you wanted to see what was standing in your way. You wanted to see why you have all this negativity, and it was showing you it's yourself. You're the one that's standing in your way. It's the ego or whatever, and you needed to experience that whole ego death, ego loss, and it wasn't really any kind of negative energy, and it wasn't anything more than just a blockage in your own consciousness, in my opinion, that seemed to be just like completely removed at that point, because now you have a reference point and you're like, oh, okay, well, wait a minute. I'm still in my body, but at the same time, I don't know who the hell I am. So who am I really? And made you really go, who the hell am I? This sounds like a phenomenal experience. And dude, trust me, the thought loops about all the bullshit that's going on in life, those suck. They do. These are the awesome experiences here. These are the ones,
the glowing experience.
These are the ones that stay with you forever.
Yeah.
What do you
it was a little difficult to deal with at the time.
Well, ego loss is one of those things that people talk about as if it's a horrible, difficult experience. But in reality, those are, sorry, I put my glasses on, so I look dorky now. But in reality, those are the best ones for me, because no longer am I bound to the BS that this container, this body is connected to. And so no longer do I have to be that person that is struggling and dealing with all of the 3D bullshit anymore. And now I can move beyond that, and not only move beyond that, but stay beyond that. And it takes all these problems and all these issues that seem so freaking huge when you're trapped inside of that container, and it boils them down to like a little pinprick size. And so you're able to see the big picture, and to the point where all of the bullshit becomes non-existent almost. It's almost like none of that matters anymore. And you really are able to see what's important in your life and what's not important. And what's important may not even be in your life. It may be in past lives going back thousands of years. And you're able to see those too. And it's only through the death of the ego that happens. And it's not a death of the ego that's horrible or even difficult. It's a freeing of the raw consciousness from the ego.
Well, it reminds me of the tablets of Thoth, where Thoth is talking about how there must be a death, but not a death as you know it.
Right.
A death that is light, a death that brings a death that kills darkness with fire and light. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
it's
poetic.
A death and a reborn and a rebirth, and man, that sounds amazing. I need to drink some again.
Yeah, we need a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you guys drank recently. Or was that something else?
No, we what did we do? No, we did well, I mean, it was a couple weeks
ago or something.
Yeah, it was a few weeks ago. But I need to do it again.
Yeah. We need to journey again.
You need to do it every weekend.
Pretty much. That's what we shoot for. It never happens though.
Yeah, we need to
every Friday. I've like completely
right,
rescheduled. That's why we moved the show to Thursday, so we can have Fridays open for drinking.
Right. Yeah, I rearranged my life too, just so I can take these substances. But I'm getting away from mushrooms. I'm kind of like I feel like I'm graduating from mushrooms up to ayahuasca. So, and I always wanted to take the trip down to Peru, you know, and then I always listen to your show or the show you're talking about when you when you went around with Joe Rogan. He told you, you know, why go down to Peru when you could just do it right here at home. So that's a great idea,
dude.
I'm glad I learned that too.
That sunk into me, and that was like the most powerful thing that ever. Like it just sunk in, and I just like ran with it. So yeah, and it made total sense. Exactly. I never thought about that. I was like, oh, I got to go find a shaman. I got to do this. I got to do that. Yeah. All yep. Right. Hey, you rock, man. Thank you so much.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. What is that though? I mean, because I've had ego loss before, but not necessarily in the body. I wasn't aware of the body with an ego loss. It's hard to explain. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But what is that? Like, does that happen often when you're aware of the body, but you don't know who the hell you are? You don't even know, you know, what house you're in. Is that common?
I'm trying to visualize a state. Now, I've been in the DMT realm, out of body, and at a point to where I can't remember my name or anything like that. Right. In the body. You know, I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that in the body, like being aware of my body. Were you like able to move around? Were you walking around doing anything like that, or just laying, or?
I was puking in the toilet, and I knew my face was buried in a toilet, and that some girl outside the door was asking if I was okay quite a few times, but I didn't come out of the bathroom because I was trying to figure out where I was and who I was. I mean, it's like someone hit me over the head with a pan.
Oh, you know? Okay. No. I understand the state. Okay. It's kind of like a day state. Everything is just kind of geometric patterns, and it's merging with this reality. So you're still seeing out of your eyes. You're still seeing the actual bathroom, but you're seeing it in kind of a psychedelic kind of way, to where everything's just kind of merging in complete and total confusion as to who you are. I understand. Yeah, I've been there before. Yeah. It's an interesting state. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it's one of those things, as I think you're at, it's one of those things you have to be in to fully understand it. And then there's really no words to describe it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it, man. All right. Well, great. Hey, man, I love a great show tonight, by the way. I don't normally get into your chat room, but I didn't have much going on, so I was kind of in the chat room. It was awesome. Very interesting show tonight.
Man, thank you for thank you for tuning in. It's been a crazy show tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a good show.
Some of it was kind of
the stars aligned in a certain way that
it is what it is. Hey, thanks.
Yeah, things line up the way they're supposed to.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Love you. Yeah. Thank you for calling in.
All right, guys.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Love you too. All right. Bye.
All right, we've got one more caller.
All right, and then I think we're gonna hang the hat for the evening.
Yeah, they're getting a little feisty.
Yeah, do you want me to take them?
No, they were chilled at first, but now they're like, all right, it's playtime.
Yeah, they're ready.
Like, no,
they're ready to play.
Yet.
Whereas we're ready to sleep.
I feel bad for them because they were like hiding in the.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were hiding or just chilling.
I think they were just chilling. You think to be honest? Okay. Yeah.
I thought they were like, oh my God, they took us away from mommy, and now
they're just leaving us in this bathroom. Oh,
they are adorable, though.
They are so adorable. And, usually they're actually really sweet and chill. I think it's just they need to get used to Thursday night being mommy and daddy's work night. And, when we get them used to being around the house and they know all the rooms of the house and they know where everything is and they're not scared anymore, I think we'll be able to just let them roam.
Yeah, I'll put them here on this desk. And
while we do
roam on the desk.
Yeah, while we do the show.
This last call.
Yeah, let's.
I hope I didn't sound too distracted with the callers.
No.
Okay,
I think you did well. I was the one sounding distracted. My allergies started acting up, and so I had to take my contacts out. Yeah, I might need to take some allergy medicine.
I hope we don't have a kitty allergy.
I remember now. Whenever I was younger, I had to get shots, allergy shots. Oh. When we had Babette. So I think I might be, needing to get allergy shots again.
Shame. Let's go to Kent, Ohio. Kent, what's your name? What's on your mind?
Hey, brother, sister, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I love you.
Oh, we love you too.
I get in trouble for, like, some of my other friends are giving me trouble, but they don't understand. Some people have this strange, warped idea what drugs are. Drugs are what pharmaceutical companies put out.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Absolutely. I remember going through DARE as a kid, and they used to say, be careful because they're going to come up. This is how drug dealers work. They offer you the first one free, et cetera, et cetera. The only people that have done that are the doctors. I'm still looking for the guy that's giving out the free Molly and the free LSD and things like that. It just doesn't. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and they were interested in trying some psychedelics, and they were like, I'll try psychedelic, but I won't do Molly. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with Molly? And they said, well, it puts holes in your brain. And I'm like, that's just complete and total propaganda. And she looked at me and she said, you mean they've been lying to me? Yes, they've been lying to you.
I had somebody trying to bring up that jumping out of the window, ripping their face off shit again.
Yeah, that's like old 70s propaganda from the hippie era.
Oh, God. Somebody that I love very dearly, very, very sweet person, but I said, honey, a lot of this is just more of you, okay? If you can't handle you, then you can't handle it.
That's true.
If you can handle you, you're okay.
That's what I've always said, that if you have control of your own consciousness when you're sober, you're going to be fine on psychedelics. If you have mental problems, you're probably going to take those mental problems into the psychedelic realm too.
I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're still going to be yourself, okay? It's not like you're going to turn into somebody else suddenly and I mean, you might find you're somebody that you didn't know you were, though.
Right.
However.
Well, Terrence McKenna used to say just that. He said it in this way. He said, you as opposed to all the other drugs that are considered drugs, quote unquote drugs, psychedelics do not change who you are. They only bring out who you already were, just in a more pronounced way, and they complement and enhance who you already are. And he said nothing about your personality or your the way that you act. None of that really changes. And the only thing that changes is the way that you're experiencing it. And you're going to do the same things that you would do in real life. It just may be more pronounced, and you may get a good glimpse into how you actually are. And I really like that, because every other drug that the archons, for lack of a better term, want you to use, they do change your personality, and they do make people make horrible decisions, and they do cause people to become different people altogether. And so, so I completely agree with you there.
Oh, hell yeah. And you know what? And it's funny, too, because there seem to be different effects for different things, because now I'm one of those people that even if I take, and I know what people say, there is a whole contingent of people that go, alcohol is such an evil, it does evil. And for some people it does. Some people, the minute it touches their lips, they become instant assholes, right? I mean, they're, instant asshole, just add beer or whatever.
Right.
Booze, whatever. But me, I just get the same way, only more.
I'm the same way. I don't turn mean or anything like that. It's just it makes me feel like crap. I'm just
same
like,
here.
And it doesn't.
I never liked
resonate.
drinking.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that I'm good with it. I can consume tons of it and nothing happens. I mean, I don't fall over or anything. I really have no, it doesn't bother me that much. I don't know why. I have never figured this out. But for some reason, there seem to be certain people that can handle booze, and certain people it's just not good for. Well, if it's not good for you, don't do it then.
Right.
If you find you have bad effects from it, stop doing it. If you're, if it makes you somebody you're not, stop doing it.
Right.
But,
That's true. So what are your experiences like? What kind of psychedelic experiences have you had?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm.
I think I just asked a big question.
You did.
It's a $1 trillion question right there.
I really don't want to get. I really don't want to get too detailed on.
Okay.
On the air with you.
No problem.
No problem.
I hope you understand. I would love to tell you privately at some point.
Okay.
But I will tell you at some point. I will get over it. But it's like right now I'm just. Oh my gosh! If I mention some of this. But anyway, I'm not in a place right now where I actually feel safe doing that right now.
No,
that's fine.
I feel the same way sometimes. Like people, like I meet in my physical space. I go, "Oh yeah, I listened to your show," and I'm like, "Oh crap, you really did? Oh man. You must think I'm nuts now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Some people, like I said, I've been getting in trouble. I try to say, and I mean really with people that are nice people and have talents and have had experiences otherwise, but there's hallucinogens can do it, but also trauma can rip open that reality bubble.
That's a good point.
The way I heard it explained was the reality bubble gets ripped open. And that's what happens. Well, the MK Ultra was about that. I mean, they used trauma.
Right.
Those drugs.
Well,
they tried LSD. They tried several psychedelics. That didn't work. Trauma-based mind control worked the best for them. And then, in my opinion, what works even better is psychotropic medication.
Right.
Which is why they're pushing that on literally everybody.
Right. It was a combination, actually, of trauma followed by the psychotropic medication. And then they found out that it was called trauma bonding. And what they would do is they would traumatize people and then love bomb them on top of giving them psychotropic medication. And so the brain had this weird disconnect where it would identify with, it was like a Stockholm syndrome thing and a drug-induced thing where the victim, for lack of a better term, would identify with their torturer because the brain was being given input that basically said, okay, well, you felt bad, but now your brain is feeling better and you're being love bombed by this person that did hurt you, but now they're good because your brain feels better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they found out that worked the best.
It's like creating
people.
a Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Right.
Oh,
right.
God. They were sick fucks, weren't they?
Well, I mean, you think of like 9/11.
still are.
9/11, for example. What do we see there? We saw the event happen. Then it was on the news 24 hours. Then it was the terror level elevations. Today's orange, today's green, today's purple, all that. And then after that, you have the 9/11 truth movement. And it's constant 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, which is, in my opinion, a form of trauma-based mind control. Because it's the repetitive nature of constantly implanting that trauma over and over and over and over again in people's minds. I don't know. I think we see it all the time, and we don't even realize that we're engaged in it sometimes. I mean, I was in the 9/11 truth movement for a long time, researching 9/11, look at all the different rubble. I had all kinds of freaking information on it, and I'm like, what am I doing to my soul here? What am I doing to my consciousness?
You're just slowly killing your soul.
Yeah. You know what got me is the pizza stuff with the kids. When we started investigating that killed my soul, and I realized how all this works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, because you see, we're supposed to do. They're lazy, okay? They want us to do all their work for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So so if we go ahead and spread everything for them, well, then they're doing their work.
Right, exactly.
Oh, to heck with that. I'm not going to be doing that.
And we think we're doing the right thing.
Right. We think we're doing a service to humanity and that, this is the right thing to do, even though I'm going through something horrible and I'm putting my soul through this tremendous amount of torture just looking at this stuff. I'm doing a service to humanity, and so it needs to be done. When in reality, we're really just doing their work for them. And then on top of that, we're actually torturing other people on their behalf.
Right. And I stop myself every time I will catch myself heading down that path, and somebody will start getting in a guy and go, oh, damn, I did it again. Okay, back up. Let's talk about something nice.
Right.
I wanted to tell you I haven't called in for a long time because a lot of stuff happened. Much stuff happened, but in the meantime, I've become, I hate this term, Ghostbuster. It's not busting ghosts. That's a ridiculous term for it. But it is a ridiculous term. Never have I walked into a situation that was screwed up and have it actually be an actual ghost's fault, except one time. One time it was a very angry Native American.
Ooh.
And
they have a lot to be pissed off about, too.
Right.
Especially here in the United States.
Oh, yeah, they do.
What? He had a 100% legitimate reason for being a poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been working on that stuff, and I kick ass. I will tell you right now, I kick ass. And I found some other people that do, too. And so if you have problems like that, let us know. We kick ass. But honestly,
so where can people contact you?
God, you know what? I am horrifically bad about that. I have also dropped the ball on so many counts, and I'm sorry. I was supposed to come on your show at some point. I dropped the ball on that. I was supposed to mail you stuff. I dropped the ball on that. I have had all of this stuff.
It sounds like you dropped the ball almost as much as I do.
I know. What ball? Well, we got to quit this shit.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, he does.
Right?
I learned that. I learned that when I was working for this corporation. The CEO was like, "Oh, I don't want any excuses." I'm like, "All right, I just dropped the ball on it." He's like, "All right, well, pick it back up." All right, cool.
I just did. Damn it. Well, and I gotta say, some of it is I had a lot coming in. I mean, I had all of a sudden I let people know how to contact me. And all of a sudden, I had like 33,000 pieces of email coming in. My phone was clogged, and it's like, oh, shit. I get, how the heck do I deal with this? And so I had to kind of shut it down a little bit, and so you can find me on Facebook. Okay, Facebook. And you can find me on MeWe as Diane Swiger. Or
have you been on with Brent Thomas of Paranormal Portal?
Yes, he's one of my good friends. They're good friends of mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a good friend of ours
Brett,
too.
Yeah. Yeah. He lives about an hour and a half from here.
Yeah.
So we see him every couple months.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would love to come out and see everybody someday.
Yeah.
And I am thinking of visiting people too, because my little kitty girl, she left in November and let me see her back.
Oh.
I've been mourning her kind of in a way. I miss her. It's more like I miss her, not that I'm mourning her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They take a piece with you. They really do.
That's what I told Chris too, is, it's different than with a dog, because, a dog will, unconditionally love you and all that, but a cat is a little bit different. It's a more mature grieving process with them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they live longer than dogs do, but and so it's a little bit less of a tragedy, and they're ready to go usually when they do go, but yeah, it is a different process, and it's not like you just miss them more than you're heartbroken. over losing
Yeah.
them. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that it was just like a piece of me broke off
Yeah. Yeah.
and went.
Yeah.
She let me. Now I gotta tell you how wonderful this was. Though it was beautiful and terrible at the same time. I couldn't get her to a vet. I waited a little too long. I couldn't handle. I was trying to find a vet. Nobody was available, and she was obviously in pain. And I'm like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I hope I want. And it's a weekend. Nobody's available till Tuesday. I'm like, oh no, she's in pain, and so I'm there. She needs grace. She needs grace. She needs grace.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do not want to see her suffer all the way till Tuesday. I can't handle that.
Yeah.
And that very day, she pulled her poor little blind body up onto my bed, at the foot of my bed, and curled up and assumed a sphinx position.
Aww.
I'm not. She purred against my leg a little bit like she used to. And then she assumed the sphinx position. And then I saw her turn into rainbow light. Honestly, I saw this rainbow portal open up. Literally, I saw it. I am so not kidding. It's real as anything you can believe. I mean, honestly. And I saw her turn into a rainbow
Oh,
bat.
wow.
It
That's
was
amazing.
really amazing. And she was in the Sphinx position, exactly like this is the way I want to die. This is the way I want to die. Your feet in a Sphinx position like this. That was a message too. And then I saw her go through it, and I saw where she went. She went to a beautiful place, and it was such an honor. I felt so honored, and it was such an honor, and I felt. And I heard a voice, and I think I was hearing maybe this, Besta. And she was saying, "You're always welcome. You're always welcome to visit." You like. And so she visits me sometimes, but in spirit. But you know what?
Uh-oh, did we lose her?
I think we might have lost her. Let me see. Yep.
Oh, no.
She got this. Maybe she'll call back in here in a minute.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've got these two babies to sleep.
Yeah. Oh, you got them to
They're
sleep.
completely
Oh,
asleep
good.
in my arms right now.
Oh, that's good.
They were feisty earlier.
Yeah, I'm about to fall asleep myself.
They're both just knocked out.
That's weird. I think I'm bonding with them so heavily that, because earlier, whenever he went to the store to get, kitty litter and a few other things that we didn't get till last minute. And while he was gone, they fell asleep in my lap, and I started it, and my head just kind of went back, and I fell asleep too. And all three of us were sleeping. I was sleeping with them sitting in my lap, and I'm sleeping too. And then we all woke up at the same time too. It's really weird. And now that they're asleep, I'm feeling like I'm falling asleep.
Putting all the ladies to sleep so I can go out and do whatever I want.
Like a tomcat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in this evening. And I'm sorry if I was a little bit distracted or anything like that. And we're looking forward to having Matt Simon on next week.
Yes.
And I think we have George Cavassalas booked and a couple of other people.
We do. Yeah, well, I know we have George Cavassalas booked, but let me see real quick.
Look. Can you see on the screen?
Hold on one second. Oh, they're both asleep. Oh,
I'm the kitty whisperer.
They messed up my. Oh my gosh.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up
we
because
love
I'm
you
getting
guys.
tired too. So, kiss the one you love right now. You never know the last time is going to be. We will probably not have the kitties with us next week.
Yeah,
because it's their first night here, so we wanted to make sure they feel safe.
Yeah.
And Yeah. They are small kitties. That's what people are saying. They're small. They're only
very
7 weeks
tiny.
old.
Yeah, they're really
But
tiny.
the mama was pregnant again, and she was like biting at them and doing stuff like that. And
and she already force weaned them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about how you can still bottle feed them until they're several, like a few months old. So
if you want to do that,
I
you
was
can.
thinking about bottle feeding them.
I just don't want them to be weaned and then
and
go
then
back to the bottle and then have to wean all
regress.
over again.
Yeah, and have to be weaned all
they
over
seem
again.
to be doing okay with.
Yeah, they're doing okay with the wet food at least.
Yeah.
They don't do as well with the dry food still, but
all right.
All right. We love you guys, and thank you for sticking with us, and thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you even further
beyond the veil. And it is time to get swifted.